I wish sometimes you people could see the stuff that I see behind the scenes, because this is one hell of a way to start the show. Welcome to the Hard Rock Show, everyone. This is another live stream edition. I'm Andrew. I've been joined by Jeff, and we're down to humans you can see on the screen right now. Do not adjust your sets. This is a natural byproduct of our stupidity. Below me on the screen, you have Chucky, and there's something drinking something in the other corner of the screen as well. I'm not
It's
sure what's going on.
Macca-Pacca.
What?
Macca-Pacca.
Macca-Pacca. Okay, I don't know what that is. All right. Anyway, we had a whole thing about this. Dave's going to sing a song for everyone later on. But the funniest thing about it, when I was rolling the pre-roll stuff for us, I could see Dave making his toy bounce around to the to the song.
He was mossing.
Anyway, Michael's here. Good to see you. So is Jolie. Lol, hi, all you scary ones. Yes.
Hello, guys.
So another round again. So I'm Andrew. We have Jeff beside me on the screen this week. In the opposite corner, in the kiss top, we have Dave, and then underneath we have Belle, who had the Chucky doll under there as well. So there we go. Cat's
Belle's
here too.
toy was cooler than mine.
Good to see you. Yes, we're having a lot of fun, folks.
Yeah, it is.
So we're off to a good start. The energy's up, vibes are good. Let's see how long this takes for this train to get off the tracks tonight. Anyway, we have a lot to get through. This week's battle coming up later on is between Alice in Chains, Black gives way to Blue. It's going up against Ancients, Beyond the Reach of the Sun. This week's backyard banger is Rob Favotto's Cosmic Metal Stories. We're going to do our final Thin Lizzy album, which is Thunder and Lightning. I've got control of the game segment of the show tonight. And yeah, that's about the usual stuff as we go through. Jody says hello to everyone as always.
Hey, Jody.
Hey, Jody.
She's there going as well, so she actually yelled out hi just then. Everyone's saying hello back, babe. Darren's here. Good to see you as well. He's gone great to see you all. Good to see you. Hopefully you're having a good time out there enjoying the show. And question of today is going to be, because this is the final Thin Lizzy album of the whole process tonight, question of the day is, what is your favorite Thin Lizzy album? One and one only, folks. Let's see how hard it is, but have a go at it. For everything we're talking about tonight, I will share reference links in the comments as we go along, but otherwise, check out the description box for this one as we go through. And as we go through things, we don't read every single comment every single time. So if you really want to make sure we know what the hell you're talking about, try and leave us some sort of reference point and you leave a comment. We'll try and scroll back to it when we get a chance to as well. Elliot's here. Hello, all. Good to see you as well. Hope you're having a good week. So that's all done. Like I said, question of the day is, what is your favorite one only Thin Lizzy album? Alrighty. Time to get into the hot rocks and get moving on with the show. Well, quickly here. Vinny's here. Good evening, everyone. Glad I made the start. Just binged Adolescence on Netflix. Bloody heavy. I don't know that one. So
yeah,
I've heard of it.
Okay.
Apparently, it's interesting.
Okay. Wow.
What
I have no idea
What was that?
Sorry, it was my phone. It was just my phone.
All right, we got stuffed toys and phones making alien noises. It's happening. It's all here, folks. You know what to do. Rock on, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Please do. David's here. Good to see you as well. It's going good day. Also good to see you.
Hey.
David. All right, let's do some business here. Hot rocks. So let's get into the new songs that are currently in the Tastemakers playlist. Link for that is in the description box. New songs are Alien Weaponry with Tanifa, Buck Cherry Roar Like Thunder, Evanescence Afterlife, Fading Out of Nowhere, The Flower Kings, Burning Both Edges, Machine Head, Bone Scraper, Otherwise, Lighthouse, Rocks Very Loose, Vigil Hunter Disconnected, and Volbeat, In the Barn of the Goat, Giving Birth to Satan's Spawn in a Dying World of Doom. Yes, I got that out once and once only. I'm not doing that again unless it wins next week. We'll see what happens. Oh my God, Vinny. Vinny's gone vibe tater. Okay. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but all right.
Jeff's phone.
It's Vinny.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. Anyway, let's get into the ones that actually made it into a Hot Rocks playlist this week. So some mentions here. Ones didn't get quite enough love to go into the top 10 were Acid Mages with Emperor. Didn't quite get there. Vukan with Irons in the Fire went from number 1 to just missing out this week. And the Filthy Animals Baby 2 didn't quite get enough love either, which brings us over to how things are going here. So number 10 was Inglorious with Testify. It was number 8 last week. It's sliding down number 10, but it's been a few weeks in there now, but it's still holding on. So we'll see how well that works out. Number 9 was Jolie's choice, Viagra Boys with the Bog Body. That's in there. Elliot put King Parrot, Punish the Runt. That made it to number 8. Number 7 is Terramay's Ending of All Things. Was number 2 last week. It's still in there. Number 6, just missing out of the top 4, is Wednesday 13 from Dave with In Misery. And then coming in number 5.
I am so excited for that album.
know you are. It's going to be very, very cool when it comes out.
I think I got blisters now, man.
That's exciting, isn't it? You're big Kev. You're very excited.
Cut fucking diamonds with my nipples, man.
That's why you're wearing the Kiss top. Freeze the Fall came in at number 5 with their track Aurora, put forward by Michael, which brings us, of course, to the top 4 this week. So we'll get this show started now. I'll get to the comments. I'll catch up later on. All right, first up, number 4 this week is Big Red Fire Truck with Cravin. This is the latest single from the Sydney band that is hot off the press as we do this one. We recently all enjoyed going over their 2023 EP Trouble in Paradise as a backyard banger segment. Now we get this new track to add to our little collection. No word yet on what more is sort of to come from the band this year, but this was a top-up song originally and ended up taking up number 4 spot, was assigned to Dave by random choice on Sunday. So Dave, over to you.
I just realised I wrote Craven as in Wes Craven, not Craven. Horror movie 3. Okay. After listening to that EP a few weeks ago for the Backyard Bang, I got a good indication of what this band's all about, so I knew what to expect with this song, and they did not disappoint. Big sounding, upbeat rock, lots of fun. Opens with a really cool guitar riff with a boppy rhythm on the drums, and they fit together really well to create a great mood for this song. I like the little lead breaks in between the lyrics on the verses with the little solos. That shit's cool. There's a really catchy hook to the chorus, just instantly memorable. Guitar solo is really good. Solid rock song, and it would be perfect for radio. But of course, they weren't going to play it on radio. That doesn't happen. But if I finish work and I put on the radio in my car, work could be a distant memory within a minute of this song coming on. It's a great way to switch your mood from whatever shit you've been going through in your life to just happy, carefree fun. Not that I listen to radio anymore because radio's shit. No. But yeah, I give this 9 shots. It was cool.
Nice. Cool. All right. Well, thumbs up, thumbs down from the rest of us. I'm going to give 2 thumbs up to this one. I enjoyed it a lot. So there we go. Awesome. Lots of love all around. That is a cracking tune, which is fantastic. All right. Coming up then, we move on to number 3 for the week. So here we go. This is The Gems with Live and Let Go, again in the comments and the description box. This is the latest single from the Swedish band that rose from the ashes of a former Thundermother lineup. The 3 ladies here all quickly formed The Gems after their departure from that band, and within a year released their debut album, Phoenix, to rave reviews in 2024. Following that, we now have this brand new single with no idea what more is to come in 2025. But that said, this was nominated by Michael C., got to number 3 this week, was assigned to me. So let's get into it. They've done a lot, and very, very quickly, this band in particular. I didn't do a review of their album last year, but I liked it. And this is a nice addition to their body of work so far. Fun little side note here. Watch the video. If you do watch the video all the way through to the end, there's a bit of sort of funny outtake sort of stuff at the end, which I thought was really, really a nice little touch at the very end of it. It's nothing complicated here. It's got a great riff, a killer solo, great drums, damn powerful vocals on this one too. And this has all you want out of a modern hard rock song and more. It's great energy. The hook is massive. This is one of those songs that just sort of sweeps you up, drops you down, and leaves you humming it for hours after you finish hearing it. While it's not complicated, like I said, it's damn well performed, and it shows how powerful and fun this genre can still be today. And when you go through the online comments, like in YouTube, I know it's a cesspool and you shouldn't do it, but I went through just quickly to see it. And it's just I don't see why people need to shoot down things that are actually just fun. I don't understand that in this day and age. It's like, there's a bit of that going on.
It always happens though. It's shit. And people criticize success. People don't like fun.
Yeah.
2025
is miserable. Yeah. They need to get a life. Look, I think this is a great fun song. You don't need to reinvent anything out there when you're doing it as well as you do, as these ladies are doing it here. And if you like your hard or melodic rock from that part of the world or that older era kind of thing, the 80s to 90s crossover, then this will make you more than happy. And that's what it's all about as far as I'm concerned. This song in particular has, like this and like Big Red Fire Truck before, both really happy songs in this little playlist this week that I think just set the tone for the week coming up. There's a little bit of a pop edge in this song too, which makes it, even more upbeat. But it's not a dirty word at all. I think it's a credit to the songwriting and what goes on here. I like the lyrics as well. It's one of those songs that you can easily see the audience singing along to in a small pub gig or a big festival or have you as well. This is a really good sort of, call and response kind of song to us. I think this one's going to be a nice little addition to their body of work. I think it's well worth the spin. So please do check it out. I gave it 8 shots for me. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. So throw to you guys to do your thumbs up, thumbs down. Where'd you land with this one?
Definitely.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll take it. Dave's a little bit not quite as positive, but still
Yeah,
not
like
bad.
about you, 7, 8.
Yeah,
Around there.
yeah. No, I get it. I get it. It's all
Okay.
good.
Oh, is that
There's
like
a clock.
is that like a ooh?
Yeah.
Clock. A
Ooh,
clock.
okay.
we're-
There was
all
a
right.
thumbs up or I guess we have been doing that.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah.
doing so like
Fair
as
enough,
long as
Remember
like,
when I went homeboy and I went like that shit? You know, it's itsy bitsy spider and all that shit
Oh,
that
here
they
we
do with their fucking.
oh fuck. Alrighty. Next one is number 2 for this week, which is from Ablaze, Melbourne Rockers Ablaze, with their song Next Train Out. This is the first single from the Melbourne band that we all know and love so much here. This is the first single, though, they've released in 2025. This follows a run of other singles released in 2024, and somewhere along the way, we're hoping for album number 2 from this band this year. Nominated by myself, it made it to number 2 this week, was assigned to Jeff. So over we go. How'd you go?
Yeah, look, Ablaze is just one of those things. They're on fire. Okay. These guys just cannot do anything wrong. Everything that they put out is just hot. You know, it sort of matches their name.
Oh wow!
Sorry,
Jeff,
I know.
Jeff, even Jody is cringing in the background.
I
Man.
know,
I see that right now.
But
Yeah, the
it's true.
two
Like
cats have their paws over their ears, like no more.
This song is fire, really. Sorry. So it really is. I really like this song. In fact, I'd go so far as say it's one of the more enjoyable songs that they've done in a long time that I've heard.
Okay.
I've heard most of their stuff, if not all of it. And I really, really enjoyed this. This song there was just something about it. It had a familiar feel to it. It had like a comfort, like a warm blanket sort of thing. Like it was like it put me in a good place. That's kind of what I'm getting to. And so I thought the production on it was stellar. It sounds good. It's got the really good flow. It's well written and constructed. It slows down there near the end there. It's got this really nice sort of cadence that it brings up and then it comes back into it. I really liked it. I thought it was well done. And so I'm going to give this 9 shots because this is hot. This is hot.
Nice. Cool. All right, let's do the thumb scale. I guess we're going to call it now. I'm going to give the thumbs.
Just get the horns.
Sorry, Dave. 2 horns. There you go. Just a quick one for Dave, because you and I followed this band since the start. Did this feel like vintage Ablaze to you when this one came out?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like the early days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did they have a new guitar player on this? Because
they did on the video, yeah. I'm not sure about the recording, but for the video, yes, they had the guitarist in this one. So
anyone we know?
No, I don't know the name, unfortunately. So not anyone we've seen from another project before, but he fits in quite well. So that's all that matters at the end of the day. Cool. Alrighty. Let's get to number 1 this week, and this is a band that's on a hot streak. Speaking of those things, this is Volbeat with By a Monster's Hand. They got a new song in the Tastemakers this week as well. But this single comes from the Danish band's 9th upcoming studio album called God of Angels Trust, which is due June 6, 2025. This is the lead single from the album, and for this album, the band were determined to abandon songwriting quote-unquote rules and structures in order to pursue new creative paths. Nominated by Vinny, something has worked, because this week we talk at number 1 this week, and as such was assigned to Belle. So over to you.
Vinny's like,
he's hoping now.
It's all right, Vinny. I liked it. And I don't have a lot to say about this song. It's just a really simple but perfectly wonderful song in its simplicity. Like, it has a fantastic groove. That main riff that runs through the intro and then into the verses is cool, edgy. It actually reminds me of Black Album Metallica. It just has
Yes.
I get that.
I get that too.
Something, just that unique
the guitar,
kind
the
of
rhythm,
sound.
the whole thing. Yeah, it's got
that. It's got that. Now I like this singer. I think he's got a fantastic and commanding voice, but I can only handle him in small doses, so like a song or 2 at a time. So this was fine. A whole album, well, the one that I think we did a whole album in the Nordic Battle, that kind of grated on my nerves towards the end. So I plan on listening to this new album when it comes out.
Okay, cool.
I'm looking forward to it because I like this song. I like the Goat one. So we'll see. We'll see if, like, these songs are enough to condition me
Ooh,
for the marathon. So anyway, I like this, how the song kicks up a couple of gears and then goes back down to the slower tempo that we had at the start. The ending is odd though. It just kind of ends.
I have a funny feeling it'll have more context in the album.
In the album, it's probably going to run on.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Or something else.
Okay.
It'll make more sense in an album, I think, than just as a single.
I hope so. Yeah. Like, I mean, songs end, but this kind of just like,
stops.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said before, it's a simple song, but it's fantastic and effective. And then it got me thinking why, like, you've got bands like Dream Theater and Ancients, who will, you've all heard that album by now, and we'll sort of go into later. But their songs are far from simple, but they are definitely fantastic. And then you've got bands like The Offspring, whose songs are simple, but not so fantastic. What makes this, like, what makes such a simple song fantastic? Like, I don't have the answers. It just got me wondering, like, what is it? But then I guess, some people think The Offspring.
Well, it's. I think it just comes down to individual taste and mood.
Yeah. Really so there's probably a few reasons.
Yeah, it's like mood, I think, has a lot to do with it. Yeah.
I think attitude of the band helps too. I mean, The Offspring are really just a piss take, whereas Volbeat are a serious band. They're not like all moody and dark and serious, like we have to not have fun. But but they've got a real. I mean, the title of their second single, it like shows that they don't there's
take
a fun fuck around.
Yeah,
but musically, they're serious musicians. Where The Offspring play the same fucking chord progression for the last 40 years.
You said it, not me. Thank you, Dave.
There we go. Yeah. You're not disagreeing, but there you
go.
No. Anyway, back to Volbeat.
What do you say? Cop and Strays, The Offspring? Yeah.
Yeah, they're copying strays. Yep.
Deserved. Anyway, 8 out of 10 for the Volbeat song. Yeah, I really liked it. That was great. So
nice. All right, cool. Yeah. We got there. Let's do the thumb table here. I'm going to go all the way up. I really did enjoy this one quite a lot. So you got the horns, whatever else. This is very, very cool. Killer riff.
Indeed, the riff was killer.
That was riff. Deserving number one this week, as far as I was concerned. So there were some cracking songs in that pool to vote from. So if you want to get involved in this one, people, behind the scenes, check out our Patreon page. You can join in the fun there for this sort of stuff. All right, comments. Here we go. We have Kat said, "Yeah, Jeff, that sounded real sus. That was your phone going off before, so that was take that one into consideration."
Is it set to vibrate, dude?
Well, it can do other things.
What?
It's a new Volbeat song.
It's a new Volbeat song. It's called Bear. Yeah.
You look like a New Zealander.
Oh no. You'll be sweating, Dave. You'll be sweating. Anyway, Vinny's gone great nomination. Not sure what song, but then Jolie said love the gems. Oh, Vinny says 2 thumbs up for the gems. Got a bit of love there for that one, which is cool. Yep. Tough is here. Good to see you. He's gone, g'day, my heavy metal minions. Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well.
Hey.
Vinny's gone to Blaze. I love the Blaze. This track in particular reminded me of Shotgun Mistress. Now, those are 2 bands I'd love to see play together. Jolie, it would be very cool. Jolie says a Blaze, 2 thumbs up. Lol, choo choo. Oh my god, here we go. It's fantastic tonight. Craig's here going, hi everyone. Ablaze, what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 or 9 shots. Yeah, I'm not going to count that. Thanks, Craig. But a lot of shots for Ablaze.
It's already blurry.
Yes. Tough.
1, 2.
Oh god, not a bad video. Kind of sucks. Looks like it. Not bad video. Kind of sucks. Look like it was filmed on a Thomas the Tank Engine set. It's a good banger.
Gotta watch these videos. I always forget.
Yeah, I know. But he's gone. I'll give it 3 fat controllers. So there you go. There's one.
There we go.
It's probably not a fat controller anymore. It's not working enough.
No, well, I don't know
like
anymore.
The portly controller. That sounds worse. It sounds like fucking GIMP shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
Wow.
No.
Vinny's gone, survived the hatchet this week, sailing through to Bass Strait now. Thanks, Tassie. So there we go.
We're going to come up with our own terms.
Jolly's gone, offspring of fun. Conrad's here. Good to see you. He's going to love
Hey,
Volbeat.
buddy.
Hope you're getting well, man.
Conrad.
Craig's on catch riff and chorus certainly goes a long way, Bill, but so does the attitude in production. There are some good points there, Craig.
Yeah.
Guru's here. Greetings, rockers across the plane. Good to see you as always, man. We'll talk about your part of the world over there in a second. But Vinny says Volbeat play to their strengths. I think that's why they generally hit the mark, I feel. Yeah, I agree with that, Vinny. They're very good at what they do and they know what they're good at. Michael says your futon bed song on the Asian TV EP followed the Offspring song structure pretty well, Bill. Wow. Oh, okay. That was in the TV episode a while back. Remember we had with the Asian ones.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
there's a
that's an interesting comparison.
Yeah,
I had not
put that together.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to go back and
that's
watch
an interesting point, Michael. Nicely
different
done.
Different vibe, but
Different vibe.
I'm keen to see if I have.
That would be interesting.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right, no, good point. Well done, Michael. Going on the deep cuts there. Well done. Conrad's gone. I'm seeing Volbeat in London in November. Of course you are.
Of course you are, Conrad.
Enjoy it, man. Tough is gone. This is why I get lost on you. Oh, fuck. I get stuck watching the entire catalogue of songs. Yes, there we go. Tough says, like that last one, I'm going to need a coffee to look it all up. Volbeat 7 shots from Craig. Vinny says you'd hate to start trying to pronounce the fat controller. Oh my goodness, that's why I say things slowly when it comes from you, Vinny. And Jolly agrees with all that as well. Sorry, give me a minute there. I'll work with that one in a second, Jeff. All righty, let's get to the Hard Rock Happenings part of the show, and then Conrad wants to come in and say hi. So while I'm doing this, if anyone wants to go and get a drink, I might do this. Jeff, you've got the link in Discord to send Conrad to do a little bit of Conrad's Corner. And then, so I'll do this little run through now. We'll do Conrad's Corner and then continue on with the rest of the show after that one. So give me a minute. So, Jeff, I'll leave that to you to take care of if you'd be so kind. But the Hard Rock Happenings for this week are as follows. Going to start off with the sad news, as always, because there is always sad news. Airborne have unfortunately shared footage from their storage unit being broken into and a number of instruments, including some of deep sentimental value, particularly to the two brothers in the band, because it's one of their father's guitars. A whole bunch of things like that have been stolen from them. So please do check out Airborne's socials. If you know anything about this, please make contact with the band or the relevant authorities to get around that and show that a bit of support and love as those things go along, because they're always shit news. But if we can do something about it, then hopefully we can get this sorted out. At least get the stuff back to the guys, because those sort of things can't be replaced. Aussie artist Dallas Frasca is in for a busy few weeks as she tours in support of both ZZ Top and George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Oh, wow. So ZZ, which is pretty cool. So ZZ Top with George Thorogood and Destroyers is a tour on its own. Yeah, that would be fun. That's a great, what a 1-2 punch that is. But Tuesday, April 29 in Adelaide, Thursday, May the 1st in Perth, Wednesday, May 7 Melbourne, Tuesday, May 13 in Sydney. You've got a whole bunch of Live Nation stuff in there to go through as well. But for just George Thorogood, which is the baddest show on earth, one night only, you've got 2 shows here. One is April 21 in Melbourne, and Bell, April 23 in Hobart at the Odeon Theatre.
Go, Bell.
One for Hobart.
George is a legend.
Yep. So there you go.
Right up your alley. You love it.
Okay. Oh well.
All
there we go.
Aside.
This is all a part of this all ties into the Red Hot Summer tour, which is kicking up, which is ZZ Top, George Thorogood, The Living End, Baby Animals, Roaster 2, Dallas Frasca, and more. So get around that. That's in Bendigo, Mornington, Hunter Valley, Wollongong, Sandstone Point, and other places. That's between April 26 and May 11. So get around that if you are inclined. Speaking of other tours, American doom metal band Pentagram have announced their first ever Australia and New Zealand tour, considered one of the quote-unquote big 4 of the genre. Hardline Media are bringing them out to our shores in August 2025. We have August 6 in Canberra, 7th of August in Brisbane, August 8 in Sydney, 9th in Melbourne, the 10th in Adelaide, and the 12th in Perth. So unfortunately, Bill, not much love for you there. And then we have New Zealand tour dates with Wellington, Christchurch, and Auckland on the 14th, 15th, and 16th of August as we go through things there. Other international band from Washington, D.C., Animals as Leaders are coming down under for a national tour celebrating their album, The Joy of Motion. They'll be playing the album in full at these shows and will be supported by fellow US band Car Bomb. That's September 12, 14, 18, 19, and 21. That's in Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, and Perth. So get around it and check out those things as you want to. And then good friends of ours, Shotgun Mistress, are spreading the word far and wide as we go through things here, because they are asking for anyone and everyone to give them a vote, because they're doing a little poll thing when it comes to them getting a support slot with the Super Jesus in June, so not too far away now. They're currently up against another band called Howling Mountain. It's a pretty close thing, so if you feel inclined to go and vote either way if you want to, but Shotgun Mistress are the ones we know the most, so obviously give them a bit of love there as well. All right, and over to the release list. Not as big of a release list this week compared to last week, but there are some cool ones here. You got Elven King with Reader of the Loons, Luna. That's coming out tomorrow. Epica with A Spiral. That's probably the biggest one of the bunch there. That's coming out tomorrow. Magnolia Park releasing their new one, Vamp. Mark Morton, he's got his new album called Without the Pain, which is from Lamb of God, obviously, for those that are paying attention there. Also, Rock Out are releasing their album, Let's Call It Rock and Roll, and Valhalla have Beyond the Stars. There's a few other ones out there as well, but please do go and check those out as well as we go through things. Alrighty, let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend that is Conrad for Conrad's Corner. How you going, man?
Good. Hey, how's it going? Hi, guys.
How are you?
Very well.
How you doing?
I was just in Australia. I was out there for 3 weeks.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I was out there for 3 weeks. I didn't get to I couldn't get to Melbourne.
Yeah.
I was in Perth for 2 weeks on holiday with my parents. My parents flew over to Perth, and we met in Perth because they'd never been to Perth before. Well, Dad had surfing years ago, and went out there and just for a holiday. To meet up with them, and did Rottnest Island, and did a bit of Perth and Fremantle. I got a photo with Bon Scott statue, and
that's
just
nice.
Smaller than you think, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was nice. I enjoyed it, and then went to Wollongong and spent like a week in Wollongong with my parents, and I just got back off the plane about 3 days ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in Dubai for a stopover. I had a stopover, which was nice.
That's cool. And how'd you find the climate and everything else change from over there to over here?
I got back off the plane here in thongs and a t-shirt and shorts, and it's 4 degrees here. You know? I was like, "What the fuck?"
That's not good.
Wow. So thankfully, I had a pair of trackies in my bag. I had a pair of trackies and a hoodie, and I was just on the tube. I literally put my trackies. Opened up my bag and put my trackies on over the top of my shorts and put a hoodie on, and and I'm strutting around in thongs, and I'm like, "Fuck, my toes are cold."
No shit.
So that lasted. That finished on day one, and now I'm back to jeans and long sleeves and jumpers. But 3 weeks in Australia, I wore shorts and t-shirt the whole time and thongs the whole time. It was lovely.
Nice.
Perth was very warm. So,
nice over there.
Yeah.
So it's been a few weeks. What bands have you seen since we last spoke to you? Because we always it's a big list, I'm sure.
Do we have time?
I saw the Night Flight. I worked on the Night Flight orchestra. Worked on the night. That was amazing. Cool. They were great. But there was something I'd never seen anything like that. That was really good. Night Flight Orchestra I worked on, and I worked on Thunder Mother. I worked on them. And what was the last thing we did something big I think we did Creator Anthrax Sepultura. That's right, we did those.
Nice. Whoa.
Before I left, Life of Agony with Biohazard. And there was somebody else that week as well. I don't think somebody else I saw that same week. It was good. I saw Queensryche, I think. And there was something that week as well. I'm trying to think who else was big. It's a lot, unfortunately. So it's going back about 3 weeks just before I jumped on the plane. But Zach Wild, Zach Sabbath.
Yes,
Zach Sabbath. Yeah. Zach Sabbath. I worked on that. That was killer. That was great. Yeah, that was really good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll send you some pictures. I've got I think a
Yeah.
picture with Zach's guitar tech with his
Wow.
his lovely one of his guitars. So yeah, that was really cool.
Fucking awesome.
Amazing.
Here's one here. Just sorry. Craig says, "Why do we allow Conrad to comment? It's always fuck you to us from the arse end of the world."
There's a reason. There's a reason I left, guy.
I know, I get it. That's all good. Oh fuck. On which point Mark was on, "Hi Conrad, greetings from the Wild Colonials. You're looking well." So there we go. And I'll get to those other ones in a bit. So what's coming up next for you, Conrad? You've mentioned before you're going to see some bands coming up. So give us a rundown, because you've always got a massive list that you're going to work on or see.
Well, I'll have a look. We got obviously I got Maiden coming up, and I got Guns N' Roses. Those are at Wembley Stadium.
Wow.
Yeah, which is going to be that's in the summer, I believe. Those are coming up, so that's a few months away yet. But I'm just going to go through now and have a look, because I've got them ticked off. So there's quite a bit though coming up. As I said, Volbeat's coming up soon. Well, that's not till November.
Yep.
So yeah, bear with me. I'm trying to find them.
All
Fuck,
good.
it's really annoying. Yeah.
It looks like you've moved again.
I've got Steel Panther. No, I'm at my lady.
Fair enough.
Yes.
That's a seriously impressive cat tower in the background.
Yeah,
there. That's a monster.
She loves cats. She's got about four of these cat towers all over the house.
Wow. Okay. That's impressive.
Like my house.
Yeah. It's like a castle for cats.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So I'm trying to find these guys. Sorry.
It's all good.
This is really annoying me.
While you find that, I'll go through. Oh, you got it?
Yeah, no. I've got Iggy Pop coming up. I'm not sure about that. I put my name down as a maybe. Sabotage.
Ooh,
Sabotage. Nice. Kitty. Billy Idol. I'm going to Billy Idol for sure.
Oh,
I love him. He's great. Sabotage. Yeah, Sabotage would be good too. Guns N' Roses, Wembley Stadium. That's in June. Manowar is coming. Manowar will be good. Leader Ford.
Cool.
Yeah, Judas Priest with Alice Cooper.
Wow.
That'll be good. Yeah, that'll be good. Halloween, 40th anniversary of Halloween. That should be good. Yeah. And yeah, Volbeat, Saxon. So there's quite a few. Just coming up.
Just a few.
Yeah. Right, which I'm probably going to have to rob a bank or get another to do it. But we'll finance it somehow.
Oh,
anyway, I don't want to disrupt your show too much. You've got
just quickly while you are here. Victoria said, "Nice to see you." Also, say hello back to Victoria.
I bump into Victoria all the time. She's out and about on the London scene quite a lot.
Nice,
so
in
fact, she'll probably be tonight down at the metal. I'm going to a metal karaoke night. There's a metal karaoke night I go to quite often here in London, and it's on a Thursday night. So I'll be at metal karaoke tonight. So
awesome.
Yeah. Indeed.
Enjoy.
Cool.
Before they go, Vinny, of course, has something. She says you're a big pussy, Conrad. So there you go. That's the with the cat cows in the background.
I'm fitting in with the cat. I see.
Yeah, no, but you wouldn't. You've made it when Vinny's having a go at you as well, mate. So it's all good.
Yeah.
But as always, fantastic to see you, man. It's good to see you. Hopefully, you're keeping well, and we look forward to next time jumping in with another update with how many bands you've seen and giving us all a big.
Yeah, and I'll try and. If Jeff can give me just a little bit of homework to do in future, if that's what you require of me, if not, then I'm happy to just come in and do this kind of thing. But and big hello to the viewers out there. It's been a while, and nice to be back on.
Yeah,
cheerio.
Good to see you, man. Look after yourself. We'll catch you soon, man.
Take care, Conrad.
Take care.
All right. Enjoy the cats. Yeah. All right. There we go. Another little edition there of Conrad's Corner. We'll get more of that as time permits. Vinny, also on the news side of things, just quickly here, Vinny said Ghost are apparently going to visit Sydney as part of their pending world tour. I think that was in-store appearance or something that I noticed. Dave, do you know anything about that?
From what I heard, it's like an album preview. I don't think it's actually coming. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
expect tour dates released very soon, because if you follow the last tour cycle, what they've announced so far will continue to Australia very soon. So I think within a month we'll get a tour announcement.
I'll be
Okay.
going
Save your
there.
money, get excited. New
Yeah,
song tomorrow
definitely.
too.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'll be
New
checking that
song
out
when?
Yeah. Tomorrow. They've
Yeah.
they've released a 30-second preview, like a 70s horror movie,
Mm-hmm.
with a whole voiceover narration
Yeah,
type thing
okay.
and there's like a little
that.
snippet at the end. So
Okay.
this will be cool. It's the second track on the album. So
Dave, can I ask
I'm
a question?
excited.
You got your ear to the ground of this. Is the right here, right now? Is it coming to Blu-ray and shit like that? Or can we get
It's
it?
out. I got it.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't know. All right,
I
I have
own
to
it.
get it.
Yeah.
I
So
have to get it.
go to Utopia Records is out. You'll have to jump on fucking Amazon.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
I'll
But
definitely.
yeah.
I've been looking, but I just haven't looked in a while. So I figured you'd know.
have you
If
seen it,
anybody would
dude?
know, you'd know. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
I think you posted a pirated copy or
Yeah.
whatever.
Torrent Cinema.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Don't know what
I
you're
mean,
talking about.
It's out on Blu-ray.
Yeah. All right.
Fuck.
I'll definitely
All
look
right.
up that. Thanks, Dave. Thank you. I'll get onto that.
On Volbeat here, quickly, Guru said if Johnny Cash and James Hetfield had a child, Michael Poulsen Volbeat. That actually
Yeah.
is not a bad way to put it.
I agree
That's
100% with
Yeah.
that. That is
Yeah.
fucking spot
Yep.
on.
Oh, okay. And quickly here, Victoria said, not at the dev, sadly tonight. Asthma is bad. Back soon. Well, hopefully you're feeling better,
oh,
Victoria.
feel better.
And,
Oh.
yeah, hopefully you get well enough
Oh,
to
good.
enjoy hopefully next week instead of this week then, if that's the
Yeah.
case. Alrighty, let's move on. It was good to have that. Let's get back into the groove of things here, because we're going to go to a backyard banger, and it's always interesting to see how things play out when I start assigning things as opposed to people choosing things. So let's see how this one plays out. This is Rob Favotto with Cosmic Metal Stories. Reference track is a song called Cats Are Cool, which actually dovetails nicely with the last conversation. But anyway, Rob Favotto, Cosmic Metal Stories. This is a 5-track EP that goes to 27 minutes. This appears to be the 8th EP overall from this Australian multi-instrumentalist and composer who happens to also have some albums under his belt, in case that wasn't enough already. Released January 1st. This is like the first release of the year for us via 9 Hole Flute Records. It's also worth noting that this is his first of 3 EPs already released in 2025. Rob actually started sending stuff through to us last year, and while we played a few tracks on TV, for example, here and there, it's the first time I got around to sort of touching on one of his releases in a live stream. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said, we'll see how it goes when it comes to an assignment versus a choice. Went to Jeff this week, so let's get his thoughts and do the rounds. Over to you.
All right. So Rob Favotto, Cosmic Metal Stories. Yes. All right. So whenever you hear an artist take on the enormous task of putting together an instrumental album, you have to take a moment to actually stand back and admire their tenacity for doing so, because that's what it takes. It's pure tenacity with a single vision to see it through. Think about it. By contrast, in a band situation, you have a big melting pot of collaborative ideas, players, and stories all coming together from each member, forming into one giant soup, for lack of a better term. Together, their ideas and input form the basis of the songs, and together, the albums. Now, sure, you might be in a band where most of this is handled by one person to play sports, but those bands are extremely rare, and for good reason, because it's a monumental task in scope. And if it wasn't, there'd be far more people and far more prevalent than what it is. You'd see it a lot more often. So when an artist decides that he's going to put together an instrumental album, with all I've given you to consider, hopefully now you'll have a better appreciation for what's involved. And so it's no wonder then when I say personally, I think an instrumental album is one of the hardest things in all of music to produce. Now, Rob Favotto, Cosmic Metal Stories, is a guitar-heavy instrumental album that does feature some very limited vocal melodies, but for the most part, it's comprised entirely of pure instrumental music. Now, I think for many of us in the know, guitar geeks like myself, it's clear that when we listen to an album, we can tell the inspiration has come squarely from other artists such as Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, for example. Now, in fact, I think that more than once I was hearing things that on this album or this EP, I should call it, that would have not sounded out of place on Satch. Satch is the name of Satriani. I'll call him Satch because we're good friends. I've been going way back.
You got the same hairstyle, dude.
I know. I'm wearing his beanie right now. Look, it wouldn't have sounded out of place on his iconic "Flying in a Blue Dream," which came out in 1989, which happens to be one of my all-time favorite instrumental albums by anyone. In fact, I'd go so far as to say those first 4 albums from Satch were peak Satriani. He's never gotten better after that, but I digress. This isn't about Satch. This is about Rob. So you can see how easy it is for me to get on a tangent when it comes to guitar music like this. I enjoy it. So with that said, I'm pretty confident that Rob is taking a lot of cues from Joe's music, and I would be shocked and surprised to learn that this isn't the case. Spoiler, I listened to pretty much all that I could find of Rob on Spotify, and I'm pretty sure that I'm spot on. Sorry. So Cosmic Metal Stories. I know, I'm the pun king tonight. Cosmic Metal Stories is meant to take the listener on a journey. And I think for the most part, I think it actually succeeds at that right from the start. Those opening synth sounds transports me to some otherworldly place. And that's right in theme with the name of the album. And I think that's a good sign for any album. I think the album's strength is in its distinctive ethnic sound as well. There's a clear Indian and Mid-Eastern music flavor here. Tracks like Rama's Bow really showcases this with vocal styles that are heard through here. Now, it's difficult to listen to tracks like this and not be transported to another place. Ethereal, mystical, spiritual, and haunting are just some of the adjectives that I'd use to describe what's on display here. Rob is clearly at home creating a landscape of his vision. And for the most part, I think he succeeds. All the tracks excel at this. And I think it's fair to say that this album wears its heart on its sleeve, and it should be applauded for that. However, it has to be said that it took me 4 listens to get to where I am now. Now, I don't think it's an easy digest, and it's certainly not for anyone. Because I think it's one of those that albums, unless you're a guitar geek or that sort of thing, you may glaze over a little bit with what you're actually about to hear. But I think that's a fair call to any instrumental album in all fairness.
Yeah, I usually struggle with them.
Yeah, I know you've said many times. So look, and oftentimes when we listen to something as well, we bring our own baggage along for the ride that can actually help and flavor our take on the album. And that's actually what happened to me. I was listening to the album, my mind was elsewhere. I was at work, and I wasn't paying attention like I should have. And in that, it translated into me not being able to get into the vibe as I'm sure Rob had intended. So I felt like there had to be more to it, and I just wasn't getting it. I wasn't giving it a fair go. So I listened to it again. And again, and again. All up, I listened to it 5 times this week. Wow. And I have to say that on the 4th time, I'm pretty sure I fucking got it.
Okay.
Because the 5th time that I listened to, I just wanted to make sure that I was right. And it was actually, at that point, it was for pure pleasure of listening. But that's what harkens me back to what I said earlier. It's not necessarily an easy listen. I think that overall, and this might actually harm its appeal in many ways. As I said before, if you're a guitar nerd like me, especially if you're a player, this is an album that will demand your full attention. So if you are listening while you're at work or doing something else that demands your full attention, you're going to miss out. Don't do it. Get to your happy place, put on a good set of headphones, turn out the lights, close your eyes, and be prepared for the journey that you're about to embark upon. Now, I'm glad that I saw enough potential in this to give it the fair shake that it needed, because if I had stopped at that first listen and scored it then, it would have been a much different review than what I'm giving it right now. And that wouldn't have been fair to the album, that wouldn't have been fair to Rob, and it wouldn't have been fair to me either, for that matter. Because at the end of the day, I'm the consumer in this equation. So as it is, I think I know this album pretty well now, and I can actually give it the score that it deserves. I have to be fair, and mind you, I'm always going to be fair in my reviews, and I think my score will reflect this. I do feel a couple of tracks on this album actually overstay their welcome just a little bit. Rama's Bow, which I mentioned earlier, is one of them. I think that song probably could have been trimmed a little bit. It's still a fantastic song, but other than that, overall, this is still a very finely crafted album from an artist who understands how difficult it is to create an instrumental album and keep someone's attention. And that really is the real trick here. So if I had one criticism to lay upon the album, I would say that I think it probably needed some different guitar tones in here to mix it up a bit. This way, I feel like a lot of the songs do start to sound a bit samey after a while, and I think that hurts it a little bit. But from an artistic perspective, from him, I get it, because he's trying to tell a story, right? He's got a theme in mind. He's trying to tell a story, and I think it's told expertly. But it's one of these things that this is a guitar album. It really is. It's a guitar album. And I think that's the key thing. And so as a guitar player myself, I think most of the songs that I heard here were all in the same key. And that actually compounds that samey feeling I was talking about. And I think by using the same tunings on all the tracks and having a similar effect throughout, he has, in my opinion, I think he's done a little bit of misjustice to the album. Now, look, far be it from me to criticize someone's art. That's not what I'm doing here. But I think the album could have really used some alternate tunings thrown in for good measure, just to help the album breathe a little bit. Because at times, as I said, the songs tend to blend all together, and it almost forms a wall of sound. And at the end of the day, one song to the next, it's hard to tell where one stops and where one begins. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think in this case, it actually hurts the overall product. What we say?
2025. That's normal.
Yeah, yes, true. But because I think that is, I'm going to deduct a point off my final score because of that. I think it probably, I think that's fair. So the production here on this album, I didn't think was amazing either. I think, for example, now I wasn't aware at the time, but when I was listening to this, and then another album came on, because it just sort of it plays on after it's done. The volume just was like, holy shit, I just about ripped my head off, because the volume was so loud on the other artist. That meant that this album probably could have benefited from a better transfer, or maybe a boost in the levels a little bit.
Just a different mastering, yeah.
Yeah, this is a nitpick, because overall it doesn't really affect the listening experience. So to sum up, Rob Favotto, I think he's an extremely talented musician, and when it comes in, well, it really comes out in the music that he's making, and the composing of all these songs. And if I can be a bit cheeky for a moment, look, I'd love to collaborate with this guy on something. I really would, because I know. But look, hey, Rob, if you're watching, hit me up. So Cosmic Metal Stories, I'm going to give it 8 shots.
Okay, cool.
It's well worth your time. Oh yeah, and cats are cool.
Okay. Here we go. It's fantastic. All right, let's go from one guitarist to the next here. Dave, let's throw to you and get your little bit of thoughts on this one, your reply to that.
I think Jeff's right in the sense that you probably need to spend a bit more time with it than I got to this week. I had it on at work, and there were other factory noises, and I was busy, and I wasn't paying 100% attention that maybe I should. But I did hear a bunch of cats meowing at some point, and I was and then there's like this sound, like, is that like him playing guitar as a cat and mingling with cat noises? I'm like, what the fuck? But then later on, when the female vocal comes in, when you're hearing it over factory noise, like, is he killing the fucking cat now? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. I thought the same thing. I wasn't going to say.
Is he murdering the fucking cat?
I thought of Yoko Ono it too.
Wow. Okay.
I wasn't going to go there, dude.
Wow.
Where's the vocal? I'm sure you love it.
It's not a bad thing. It's just saying, hey.
Oh, it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well,
but I didn't get like the full experience that Jeff got from it. It's worth a listen. I not in a place to score it.
Yeah,
I didn't get to hear it properly. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that.
All good. Belle?
This is so interesting. Jeff, your review was pretty captivating to
Thank you.
be honest, because I
Captivating.
really
Oh,
no,
This is
I
getting so
really
bad tonight.
seriously
Cat-
I appreciate
I get it.
what,
Activating.
oh
That's
okay.
why he's playing on the word. Phil. Yeah, that's why.
I wasn't expecting it from you.
What is going on? Oh, this is wild. This is great tonight. This is fun.
Look, I'm
Appreciate
in the same boat as Dave. I had a one listen and I was at work because I tend to do a lot of my listening at work.
Mm.
But
It's
everything
great getting paid for this shit, isn't it?
yeah. Well,
I
I'm
know.
still working.
Sorry.
I'm still working. I'm sure
Yeah, I was
you are
working.
too.
I was working.
I
That's
was
why I couldn't
working.
focus on it.
But yeah, your attention is certainly divided.
Correct.
I haven't written anything about it, so
Yep.
it's not going to go well probably. But look, Jeff, you were so fair. I mean, it was your review, and yes, you had to kind of digest it properly, and you gave it everything. Like you couldn't have given it more, and you were so fair about. I'm fascinated by your switch, like I'm not sure about this to I get it. I didn't reach that point, and to be honest, I don't know if I wanted to. I'm not a guitarist. I'm not really a fan of guitar albums.
I think that's what drove me to keep going.
Yeah.
Because I knew that he was
But I
trying to
don't
say
get that
something
because you
and
listen to
I
guitar
wanted to.
music so much. It just has vocals over it.
There is a difference in I
such
think
a
your
difference.
mentality.
No, there's not. If a good instrumental guitarist can create melodies that recur, it's like lyric. If it's done properly, like Satriani and Guy,
Okay.
you don't really miss the vocal.
Yeah.
Typically, I'm not a fan of guitar albums. There are some exceptions that I've heard over the years, but
Great, that's fine. Yeah, and they're not for everyone. They're not.
Yeah.
But,
But-
I don't want to get into a can of worms here and an argument and everything. Oh, you listen to a lot of extreme music with the growly vocals, and you take the growly vocal as part of the music. So can't a guitarist do a vocal melody as part of its instrumentalization without the whole growly shit on top of it? Can't you? Because you don't really need the lyrics.
I'm not thinking about that as a guitar album though. I'm thinking about that as a band, as an album.
Yeah.
And yes, I can hear everything, but I'm not completely focused on the guitar. Like I'm listening to the vocals as well.
But if you take the growly vocals as part of the music,
I understand. I think I understand what you're saying, Dave. But I think there's also I think where this goes different is Jeff made a great point that the tonality is entirely different. So when you've got the vocals, it adds an entirely different tone to what a guitar presents.
You could do that on a guitar.
Sorry?
You could do that whole growly thing on the guitar.
You could, and I'd be curious to get that input, but that's not what we have here in this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, if lyrics aren't important, if just the growly feel as part of the whole instrumentation of the overall song, if the lyrics aren't important, if cohesiveness isn't important, then why is instrumental guitar music so hard to digest?
Good question.
Well, is that the point here? Like this, we could go.
I'm just
down
talking
that
in
path.
general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Maybe we put a pin in that.
You and Andrew really struggle with instrumental guitar music.
Yeah, I do.
But you're fine to listen to like very percussive, very aggressive. I don't see a difference.
I don't struggle with all guitar albums. You put forward one, it was a couple of years ago. Aldi Meola. Yeah. I love that. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was great. Love that.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the guitarist and their style.
Yeah, their capability.
Anybody out there who struggles, you just got to find someone that you like. Listen to check out.
There's plenty out there, and there is a lot of shit. There's a hell of a lot of shit out there.
Because
even the good ones, I might not necessarily like. So, the ones in high esteem, like the Satrianis and the Vais and all that. Like some people like, some people don't. or some people.
Yeah, like I'm not a
struggle
massive
to-
Bio fan, but I love Satriani.
Malmsteen and stuff, you know,
Mm.
like,
Yeah.
like some people hate Malmsteen for
Yeah.
what he does,
Yes,
but
I
no one can
struggle
deny
with
his
Malmsteen,
ability. He's
That-
everyone
that's
knows
right,
he's
yeah.
Yeah.
So look,
It's just different all
So,
around.
but
We can
way
put a pin in that
sidetracked. Sorry,
side of
I
things.
brought it up.
No, that's
but yeah,
right.
sorry.
I just think it's actually a genuinely interesting topic. We might put a pin in it to put it like to a Sunday or something at some point when
Yeah.
we're all together and just then we can sort of dive into it a
when
bit more.
Andrew says put a pin in it, it means let's move the fuck on
It's a
with
massive conversation. Like
Yeah.
the whole
It is.
are
It is.
lyrics still important?
Yeah.
I think it's an
vocal
interesting
styles?
one.
If
It
something's
is an
in a
interesting
different
one.
language, would you go and
Yeah.
get the translation? Are you that motivated, or is vocals just another instrument?
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
it is
Vocals
another
are another
instrument, why aren't instrumental music more appreciated for people who like the growly shit?
Okay, I think that's a genuine conversation. I think we'll pin it for another
There
time.
is a lot in it.
Yeah.
There's
Sure.
a lot in it. Yeah, I agree, Dave.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'll weigh in
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
I hope so.
Look, in regards to this album, and what Jeff was saying, I didn't get it. I didn't get it, but then I didn't give it a chance. So
Yeah, I did not.
there were
So,
things I
okay.
didn't like about it, like not just that I didn't get, that I didn't like. So I'd be interested if I did go, all right, just Belle, fucking do it. Listen
in
to
on
it
it,
4
yeah.
times. Listen to it 5 times. See
Yeah.
if I get it. I think that might be the only fair way to really.
And
give
at the
my
end of the day,
opinion
are
on
you
it.
gonna? I mean, who? Any album? Fucking,
I
Well,
don't
that's-
know.
I mean, it's a
Yeah,
tall
you need to
ask.
spend
It's
time
a
with an album
big-
to fully get it.
It's an
Correct.
EP,
Well, it's all that,
so that
yeah.
that helps.
What,
but
5 songs on this EP?
5, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really short.
I did notice mood changes. There were some
Yeah.
that were kind of more
Yeah.
cosmic
Oh,
and
yeah.
more rocky.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there was diversity there, which was cool.
there was. Agree.
diversity, but I agree with a lot of what you said. There's the sameness. It kind of just mixed in, and but then
Yep.
you kind of gave a point, and then you counterpointed, like, well, maybe he was going for this. I mean, we don't know, but it seems like a
Yeah, I mean,
reasonable assumption.
the name
Yeah.
of the album is.
His Spotify has a lot of releases. Is this like a bunch of singles compiled as an EP afterwards?
No, he releases singles that usually like 2 or 3 from each
Yeah.
EP, but then each EP is its own standalone thing on top of that with
He
new
did one
tracks on
earlier.
it as well.
This one's
So
very Indian.
yeah,
Last one
Okay.
was Japanese, and that
Yeah,
I
the
listened to that.
sushi
Holy
man.
that was amazing.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
There's
yeah.
going to be, I think, if I can interject you for a minute, I think that in the context of Rob Favotto and what he's doing at the moment, he might be a victim of his own creativity because he's putting out a lot. Like he's releasing
Yeah,
a
There's a
lot.
lot.
So the way it's sort of cycling in the context of this conversation, I think because he's releasing so much, it's more volume versus quality. Not in a, I don't think it's a negative per se, but just in that context, you're not saving the best cuts. You're just releasing all the cuts, if that makes sense. And that might be something that is worth considering. But I
There
might be
are
wrong.
artists.
Too
There are
little. It's built
artists
from
that,
anticipation.
Look,
Mm.
Toe Hider. I have to think
yeah,
of Toe
that
Hider.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
artists that do that. Toe Hider is an example, and I can't say he's released anything that's subpar. It's all
No.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Toe Hider's awesome.
it's yeah.
It's hard to do, though.
Indeed.
Very hard
Yeah,
to do.
yeah, you have to.
It is very hard. That's why I said at the beginning, I think it's probably one of the hardest things to do. An instrumental album is just an incredible, undertaking to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, look, maybe I should make that my challenge. Listen to it every day for the next 5 days, and then
I'd like
see if I
I'm
get.
not going to ask anyone to do anything like that, Bill. I never
No,
have, so.
I could impose it upon
Look,
myself.
it's
and
only
that's
20
fine.
minutes or whatever. It's not long.
Yeah, it's not.
fairly short.
It's not a big chunk out of my
No,
day. So
so.
I'll give a secondary review next week if you like.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
That would be
Whatever you wanna
cool.
do. You-
That
you
would be
tell
very
me. I'm
cool.
not gonna
Because
force
maybe
it.
you'll get it. It took me that while, and then once I'm like,
Well,
okay, I'm
Yeah.
getting what he's going
It'll be
for.
either I got it
Yeah.
or I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Cool, no, that's right. That's all you
Exactly
need to do. Yeah, seriously.
Mm.
And is there anything else you wanted to say there, Belle? Or
No.
No? That's
I thought, Jeff, that was
Yeah.
great. That was.
no,
That was
I
good.
agree.
Thanks.
And
Well, thanks.
for extra context here, behind the scenes, Jeff reached out to me and he's like on the third listen was when he reached out to me. He's going, he was struggling a bit. So I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm glad you got that sort of aha moment for you a bit later on. Which makes it more worthwhile, because this is what happens when I give you guys a choice each week. I'll assign you, or you can choose. You can do whatever you want. when people say assign me one, I assign it, and it's just randomly drawn out, and this is what we get. For me, there's a bit going on in this EP in particular with his whole like body of work. There's a lot going on. It's all very interesting to me, but I probably have the benefit of having sat with this EP since the 1st of January. I was aware of it when it came out. I listened to it the day it came out, and I've had it sort of in the back of my head ever since time. So I've had a lot of time to sit with this EP in particular. There's prog, technical, all that sort of stuff in here. I think there's some cool riffs, some great lead work in there when you take into account. And for me, you've got a blend of attack and softness and all those things. I'm like Bell, I can often struggle with instrumental albums. Something about Rob's work gets my attention, though, in a good way. Because while I get the technicality and all that sort of business in there, I think there's a lot of feel and atmosphere, and I think there are dynamic shifts in these songs. But I have sat down with this one in particular for a while and had the Sennheisers on and just sort of lock myself away with it and really dive into it. The shifts are across the whole EP, across his whole career, but also within the songs individually on this one. I think it can sort of punch, but it can also breathe nicely. It is self-produced, which Jeff touched on the production. It can be a bit rough around the edges at times. But for me, I think that as a counterpoint to that, when it's nailed, there are some beautiful tones in here too. Like there are some really beautiful stuff in here, which we'll get to in a second. But I think all in all, it does justice to the songs. It sounds good enough. It's just a good presentation. Not mind-blowing, but solid. I also like how some of the things have been layered in on this one too, that stands out on the headphones listen more than other ones. Like there's a little horn on Roma's bow that I think was a really cool little moment. There's a little horn panned left, which is a nice touch there. But there's also some outright quirky stuff here. Like Dave mentioned the cat noises. Like that track is interesting to say the least. But I think those interesting different points, because there's such a volume being released, that it makes the individual EPs, for example, stand out amongst the bunch overall. But for me, I like how it's unique. It's different. I think that there's a lot of different elements in this that sort of combine inspirationally for this, both, thematically and musically, the Eastern things that Jeff touched on as well. But I think the beautiful moments on this are the ones where it really stands out. So tracks like Allura Caves, for me, that one was a beautiful moment on this EP. And I think that one highlights for me how emotive this music can be when it's done exceptionally well. I've checked out a few of this guy's EPs over the duration now, and I've enjoyed them. This is no exception for me. But again, I think I've got the benefit of having sat with this artist, his body of work, for a bit longer than everyone else here as a general rule. So I do think that's a valid point to bring up, and absolutely. But I am enjoying it personally. I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm looking forward to more, because while he's prolific, I'm finding it all exceptionally solid. Not oh my god, virtuoso kind of stuff, but I think it's really solid, really cool, and I'm enjoying it. So I gave this one 8 shots. My standards were Allura Caves and Cosmic Metal Stories. I think that opening track is a cool one as well. It's a bit of a heavy one, but I enjoyed that one quite a bit there. Alrighty, let's quickly do some comments while Bell's ducked out. Terry's here. Hey guys, sorry I'm running late tonight. Hey. So good to see you, man. Joe has gone thinly too. Well, we're getting to that right about now. Victoria's gone, sure, we still miss our cat. Well, hopefully, I'm not sure what to say, to be honest, but hopefully everything's well there. Bishop Craig says Satriani's a master of turning melody into a vocal on guitar. There you go. Yeah. Michael's gone, perhaps the only way for Dave and Bell to solve the guitar debate is to have TV ringside style cage match with chains and ground glass on the knuckles. Vinny, you can decide if it's jelly wrestling too. Fucking hell. But PJ's chimed in saying, no solo guitar albums, they're all kinds of wanky. So it is an acquired, like, there are different things, different people have different tastes, and that's where we're all...
Depends on the album and depends on the artist.
I agree, Dave. I agree. But I think at the same time, it also depends on our individual taste, because we are as different as our fingerprints are from one another.
Yeah.
And so we've got to take that
once again, instrumental guitar is basically just a band without vocals, and people don't give a shit about lyrics. So what's the difference?
When it's done well, I think it's all a matter of when it's done well, when it speaks to you. Honestly, I think it just comes down to finding a connection point to it. If you can do that, then you're in. If you struggle,
the argument for incoherent vocals is that it creates a mood. Well, instrumental guitar music is all about creating a mood.
But not every album you listen to strikes a note with you. So maybe that like not everything does. And so I think
some people gravitate towards the lyrics. Some people will grab on to.
I love lyrics.
I like lyrics too, and so
we had that conversation as a hot topic a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I was surprised how many people don't give a shit about lyrics.
No, I love lyrics, but that's why we made it a top 10 category for this year coming up as well. It's going to be the new one that goes in.
That's cool.
This year's favorite lyric of the year. So, don't forget that one at the end of the year, guys. That one's coming up as well. It's hard to believe we're already fucking into April, but anyway. I'm going to move us along because we're going to pin that conversation. I do want to do that conversation. I think that's a really good one. I think if we take a time to prepare some notes on how we actually want to present that one, I think there's some structured conversation we can have in a really interesting format there. I think we can really dive into that one. But next song on everyone's list is Thin Lizzy Cold Sweat. So go and listen to that if you haven't heard it already. I don't know where the fuck you've been. While we go through and recap, because this is the final round of our collective fretboard feud for Thin Lizzy's discography. So last week we all went through and picked songs. What was that one last? Well, last week was Renegade. And so as things stood at the final score point last week before we got stuck into things, Jeff was out in front on 365. I was on second, same points, but because whoever gets the higher on that week gets the win sort of thing. So Jeff and I were tied. Bell was on 350, Dave on 320. So things were pretty tight at the end of last week. So then we went through and picked on Renegade and listed off our favorite songs and all the usual stuff. So Jeff went first and chose Angel of Death. Dave chose It's Getting Dangerous. Bell chose Leave This Town. And I went last and chose Hollywood Down on Your Luck. That was our song choices from that album last week. Which brings us over to, we do a poll and then we ask the audience what their top songs are from the album. And then we do a top 5. So number 5 of the audience choice top 5 from this album, Renegade, was Mexican Blood, was number 5. Number 4 was Renegade. Number 3 was Leave This Town, which was chosen by Bell. Number 2 was Hollywood, which was chosen by me. And number 1 was Angel of Death, which was the one that Jeff took, which does influence things here, which means that I shared points with Bell on things. What's wrong, Bell? What's going on?
I'm sorry. Every time you say Angel of Death, I think Martyrs of the Kingdom of the Dead.
Yeah. I got that too. Yeah,
Just can't help it.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Let's AOD.
Ignore me.
Jeff got 50 points for Angel of Death. Bell and I split points on 35 apiece because of the voting way it worked out.
Yeah.
Dave, you got 20 points for your efforts last week, which changes.
I want to lose this completely because I go for the deeper cuts. I'm happy with that.
That's okay. But as things stand now, Dave, you're on 340 points as we go into the final round. Bell's on 385. I'm on 400, and Jeff is on 415. All those things said and done, that's where we're at. We move on to still there. Yep. So we're on to 1983, Thunder and Lightning. This is the one now. It's the final round for this one. I get to go first because whoever goes last week before goes first in the new week, for those who don't know the rules. Yeah. So the 12th and final album studio album from this legendary band, released back in 83. This one sees John Sykes come in to replace Snowy White. 9 tracks for 41 minutes. For me, this is a step up from the last album. I know a lot of people have a bit of mixed feelings about it, but I enjoyed this one more. There's some real moments on this one. There's a definite harder edge, which is brought in by John Sykes to this one. That's present right from the start. I think it's quite a bit of attack from the opening, which just sort of, sets the whole album up nicely. I think John Sykes really stands out on this record. His presence is very clear, very dominant. There's a trade-off, though, because while it's more blistering as a consequence of that guitar work, he sort of lost some of that older Thin Lizzy twin guitar sort of feel, and that I miss a bit by this point in time. Mm-hmm. That said, they have carried that over or compensated for it by using the synth more in that regard. So you got some moments here where you got the dual attack part, the traditional Thin Lizzy feel is done by guitar and synth versus 2 guitars, which is a natural evolution in some respects. Phil certainly sounds more energized on this record than the last one around for me. I think the mixing pushed the guitar a bit more up front, which sort of serves the album well overall too. I think there's a little bit less creativity on display in some respects on this one, though. None of it's bad. None of this is bad, but it's just when they find something to lock in on, they sort of stay there, and it just sort of feels a bit repetitive at times on the album. But for all that, you've got some great stuff on this one, like you do with all the albums overall. This one, this is the one for me. Is like a first of a few really good highlight tracks on this one for me. It's direct but catchy. That driving rhythm works well. I've said that each album has that sort of, an addition to the greatest hits catalog. This has that with tracks like The Sun Goes Down and Cold Sweat. Those two alone, I think I don't need to talk about those ones too much. Everyone fucking knows and loves those ones, I hope. They're both so different to each other, those songs, though, but they're both so damn impactful and powerful in their own way. And I think that most artists would kill to have songs of that caliber in their catalog. But I think another sneaky standout for me for your top 4 on this one is Bad Habits. I think it's probably the closest to an old school Thin Lizzy track on this album in particular. But all around, another solid album that shouldn't be overlooked. I think the flip side that while it's good after the run they've been on for the last few albums, when you take it all into consideration, why we do things week on week, I think it's the fact that they announced a farewell tour to go along with this one. Sort of, the writing has been on the wall for a little bit, and they sort of called it a day, and it was probably the right time to do so. Not that any of this is bad, but you just sort of feel it running its natural course. But I've enjoyed this whole process. It's been really a good, fun thing to go back over it again. I know Dave and I did it a long time ago in a different format, but this has been cool to sort of revisit and go through it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to pick a song, and I'm going to go with probably the obvious choice, but it's the one that I genuinely, if I couldn't have this, I'd take another one. And, there's 2 tracks that stand out for me. One is Sun Goes Down, but my choice here is going to be Cold Sweat. I'm going to take it off the board and just rip the bandit off, take that one away. So I'm taking Cold Sweat, which means, Jeff, you're up next. So which way are you leaning on this one?
Well, this is, yeah, I enjoy this album quite a bit because I think it does lean towards more guitar, more rocky, a little heavier than some of the stuff we've got. But I take your point. We're getting away from the more melodic stuff, the twin guitar stuff that we had in the past. So it's kind of hard. Obviously, Cold Sweat is probably, let's be fair, it's probably the best song on the album, in all fairness. But there's some other gems here as well. Yeah, obviously, Sun Goes Down's great. Bad Habits is great. Heart Attack is great. I mean, like, fuck, where do you go? Even the Holy War. I think the Holy War is it's got its own charm. It's I don't necessarily like the topic about it, but it's cool. So look, I'm gonna go with the Heart Attack.
Okay. Cool.
I don't want that personally, but that's what I'm going with.
Spoiler alert, none of us want that to anyone, but anyway. There we go. All right. So Heart Attack is off the board, which means, Dave, you have the next call.
Yeah. Not much has changed since we did this last time, man. I absolutely fucking adore this album. And you said sounded like they were done. And I don't think much has really changed for you in all these years. But I think they are firing on all fucking cylinders, and they haven't sounded this good in quite a few albums. I ideally wish they followed on with this lineup and this style. Because fuck me.
Yeah.
And you know what the saddest part is? A couple of months before Phil died, Scott was talking to him and they were discussing resurrecting Thin Lizzy. That was in late 1985. Can you imagine that? 1987, 1989, a long track with Permanent Vacation and Pump and fucking Alice Cooper's Trash. Imagine the album this lineup would have released in 1989. Correct. Fuck me, I would have loved an alternative universe where that happened. But my God, I absolutely fucking adore this album. The first 5 songs I could not rank as a number 1 because they are all fucking brilliant. I love those 5 songs. The second half, some of those songs date back to the early feel of the 70s Thin Lizzy with the new tone and production, which I think is cool. We're still who we are, but we're changing our style. And by this time, even Aerosmith have changed their style. Van Halen's on the scene now. Metallica is around by this time. Things have changed. If you want to remain current, you change. You have a heavier sound. Phil sounds much healthier than on the previous album, more focused and inspired. His lyrics are absolutely brilliant throughout this. John Sykes sounds awesome on guitar. The keys really amplify the Thin Lizzy sound. That last song, Heart Attack, which Jeff picks, that is hauntingly sad because those lyrics, Mama, I'm dying of an overdose. That's the last song on a Thin Lizzy discography.
Yep.
Yeah, that is fucking a haunting way to kind of predict your own end. What always drew me to Thin Lizzy, apart from the awesome music and the fantastic writing, was Phil's lyrics. I love lyrics, which we just spoke about a little while ago. But it's kind of sad for me that people don't really give a shit about great lyric writing because it's storytelling. And sometimes it can suck to think that you're the only person in the world that thinks the way you do. When you hear an artist that you absolutely love question things and have this worldview, and it's like, dude, I get you. I know exactly where you're going. So one, I have for many years since I was a young kid, always been questioning the whys and the how of the world at large, the universe, and some really deep questions about religion and shit. So when I heard Holy War for the first time, I'm like, Phil, I'm fucking with you, man. I get it. Absolutely fucking adore that little intro melody, the mood of those chords. So hell yeah, I'm going with Holy War. Thank fucking God. Ironically, I thank God considering the subject matter. Thank Phil that was still on the board because that's
cool
definitely my
song.
number one.
Very cool
It's
song.
my number one song on the fucking album. I absolutely love it to bits.
Nice. All right. Cool.
Your heart would have skipped a beat there when I mentioned it. When I said Holy War, you probably, fuck, I want that song. Yeah, yeah.
But when you said even Holy War has its own charm, like an afterthought, I'm like, fuck, dude, how can you say that about that song?
All right, Bill, you get the final word.
Well, I just wrote down kind of bullet points, really, but they were fascinating, and for the most part, I agree. I agree with everything you guys just said, even the things that I hadn't considered before. So yeah, thanks for that. Like it's worthwhile spending some time with this one. It's the last one, and I'm a bit sad about that. It's been a really cool journey. I mean,
what could have been?
I've heard them all. But yes, I was
say,
like,
I was gonna say,
I have it.
Out of all the albums you've held up so far, Belle, that's the one I really, really want.
Oh, really? Oh, well, you can't have it.
No. Fuck you, it's mine.
Get your own.
That's great.
I will.
I know you will. You will.
This must be a Japanese pressing because
did you get that in Japan?
It's I believe I did get this in Japan.
Oh, wow.
It's all like
Very
Japanese.
cool.
There's like a lyric sheet you get in it. It's all like English and then all Japanese. Anyway,
that's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's a good one.
Any bonus tracks on that?
No, it's just the album. Although I did discover when I'm going off track. I think it was my Black Rose album had My Sarah as a song title, whereas it was just Sarah. So that's cool. Anyway, about this album, if I start off with a negative, that's not very cool. I would like someone to clean up this recording. I found it far too washy. Just has a wash. I don't know if that's the sound. Yes, even in its purity, I find it
interesting.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the sound of it. Yeah, but I mean it's possibly a deliberate thing. Personally,
I think it is.
Don't like it.
And that's why it's cool.
It's fine if that's what they wanted. Cool, but I personally, I'd like to hear it a bit crisper. I thought the opening track sounded more like a Motorhead song than a Thin Lizzy song. Even Phil's delivery was almost Lemmy-like. Cool, fine.
They were friends.
An observation.
Yep.
Two very cool solos on that track as well. Although I think Sykes is an awesome guitarist. Rest in peace. I prefer Gary Moore as a better fit to this later kind of stage of the band.
Probably agree.
Mark, kind of the second half. Yeah. I just thought he
a bit more feel.
Never considered that though.
Absolutely.
Gary Moore and Thin Lizzy in the 80s.
because he was doing some cool stuff in the 80s. Yeah. But just my opinion. Don't shoot me, everyone.
You're entitled to it.
Personal choice.
Yeah. That's the point.
Baby Please Don't Go, great song. God, this is all negative. I fucking like this album, and the only things I've written down are criticisms, but I'll keep going.
It's a love-hate review.
I guess so. I didn't realize I should. This is the only thing I didn't check over. All right, doesn't matter. The only thing I don't think, the thing about this song, I like it. It's a great song. I don't think Phil it suits his singing style. To me, it sounded really forced. His delivery of this, it just wasn't his typical. There's a word Jeff used earlier, cadence. Like, just it wasn't his
Nice. You picked
relaxed lyrical delivery.
Yeah.
It just was. He was trying to sound like a style of singing to suit the song, and it just wasn't. But
okay.
in my opinion.
Sorry to interrupt, but quick. I only just learnt recently that Phil's wife left him in 1984. I thought she'd left him before this. And he just found out that the timeline. I thought this song was about that because I felt that in his delivery. But only just like a month ago found out that she left him in 1984. I mean, drug taking escalated.
It might have been.
Well, maybe he's still begging. It's already on the out. Yeah.
It probably just didn't happen like that. There was
usually decline. Yeah. I just felt that in his delivery.
Fair enough.
It wasn't. It was more the vocal melody, and this was not. It didn't suit him. My opinion.
Okay.
Anyway, otherwise, awesome album. Fucking love it. Definitely one of my favorites.
Oh wow, we're going well now.
Like legit, it is.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah. So I'm happy to find that my number one song that I had noted is still there, which is The Sun Goes Down. So
nice.
happy to put my name against that one.
Pick.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Love the vibe. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look, the guitar solo in the song that I picked, Heart Attack, it's still one of my favorites. That fucking guitar
tone in The Sun Goes Down. Holy fuck with that band. And then it just goes in. Yeah.
I love that.
They did a live album from the last tour with all the guest guitars from Live. That song on that live, holy shit. Fucking great.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of good stuff. We're getting toward the end of things now, though, but we're just a quick recap. I have Cold Sweat, Jeff has Heart Attack, Dave has The Holy War, and Bell has The Sun Goes Down. So there's a few good tracks there to choose from. We'll go through, do a poll on this in the week to come, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled on our socials, particularly on YouTube, and that's the main one, really. But there's other platforms, so if you want to keep your eye on that. But get involved, have fun with that, and we'll see how the results come up next week. Guru said I got money in my suitcase, but he also says I think that was the first riff Sykes played for Lynette, which is possibly true there as well. Victoria's with you, Dave. You guys totally get what Dave is saying about lyrics, which is cool. And
thank you.
So William Harrington is going, yo, good to see you. Hope you're having fun over there. I'm not sure. And he's asking who's breathing in the mic. I'm not entirely certain who's breathing in the mic, but anyway, I don't pick up on anything. Anyway, let's move on.
Jeff.
Am I breathing in?
I just I don't know who it is.
Figuring it out.
All right. Finger.
I don't know.
Let's get to the fun part because I've got a game to play for all of you tonight, and it's my game for something completely different this week. I'm going to each week one of us gets to take over the show for a few minutes and go, okay, we challenge the other co-hosts to do something a bit of fun with this. And so my thing here is that this is going to be a different edition of True or False, which I've run in the past, which is reverse reviews. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read out quotes and the albums they're attributed to. All right. You're going to tell me if they're legit or if they're fiction. All right.
Oh no.
So
are these from us or just reviews?
No, not from us. These are classic albums.
I can breathe again.
Okay. All right.
Classic albums. Don't worry. Don't do your own heart attack here to borrow.
I just thought of a new fun game.
Yeah,
the host. I go through old reviews and pick quotes from us.
Yeah, that could be interesting. That could be interesting. That's like the whole watch along on Sunday we're going to do for Queen. That's not a bad idea, actually. We might investigate that one now. But basically, what I've gone and done, I've put 11 questions together because we go up to 11. And then I've gone through their classic albums, and I'll tell you the album, and I'll read you a quote, and then the game is for you guys to tell me if it's true or if it's fiction. And if it's true, I'll tell you where I pulled the sources from. Yes, Jeff.
Okay. Well, I just want to know. So before we actually start, are we going to be? I know that is true. Or you're going to read it out, and then we just all
and then you all give an answer to make it easy. Okay. So
okay.
Yeah, everyone gets a chance. It's not a race. It's just are you correct? That's all it is.
So I got you. Yep.
Just a point here, just for those that are going to be nitpicky, I've paraphrased a few things to make this all work in the context. I've created fictional ones and combined original ones. I just to make it work. It's not all going to be word for word quotes, but it's just sort of you'll get the idea as we go along. All right. That said, here we go. Number 1 here about Led Zeppelin, self-titled. This album has weak and unimaginative songs and is a waste of considerable talent. True or false?
True.
True.
Belle?
False.
Belle, you're wrong. That one was actually correct.
Oh.
That was a real quote from Rolling Stone. Again, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but that was
Whoa.
built out of Rolling Stone.
I was
when the
hoping
album
it was
came out.
false.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Rolling Stones suck.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, hang on. I should note here that these are meant to be all scathing comments. So these are all going to be negative as we go through things, just to make it even more fun. They're all going to be negative. None of these are going to be good. These are all going to be snarky. All right. Number 2, about Motorhead Ace of Spades. A relentless barrage of noise masquerading as rebellion. Lemmy's vocals sound like a dying engine, and the rest is just sonic mud. Fact or fiction?
False.
True.
False.
Jeff, you're the only one that got that right. That was a fiction.
It sounds like it could be Rolling Stone again.
No, it was a fiction though, but this is why it's fun, right? So this is the cool thing. All right, number 3, Judas Priest, British Steel. A mechanical, uninspired attempt at heavy metal that replaces soul with steel and swagger and with sloganeering. It's loud, yes, but utterly hollow. True or fiction?
Sloganeering. I tell you what, if this is false, I'm impressed with your made-up word.
Your diction. Yeah, that's very well.
Yeah,
maybe
I'll go true.
All right.
False.
I'm going to say true as well.
Belle, you're the only one that got that right. So there you go.
Yes.
Your first points are on the board.
Did
Belle
you make up the word sloganeering?
Yeah, I'm getting some help with different things along the way, but yeah, I didn't make it up personally, but
Love
one of
it.
the ones that it all worked out.
Thank you, AI.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using things to help. I'm using tools to help me because I haven't got the meows.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, number 4, Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. Swaggering mediocrity dressed up as sleaze. Tyler's yelps grate more than excite, and the riffs are recycled blues rock tropes without the guts.
Oh, true.
Rolling Stone again, true.
True.
You're all wrong. That was fiction.
Motherfucker, I had a chance. I could have done it.
Good.
Oh, well.
All
Happy
right.
to be wrong.
Number 5, AC/DC, High Voltage. This mindless album has brought hard rock to its all-time low. AC/DC have nothing to say musically, and this calculated stupidity is offensive to the ears.
I hope that's false. I can't say true because it's just not right.
All
Doesn't
right.
sit.
I think true.
Oh.
False.
Dave, you're the only one that got it right.
Oh.
You know
Who
what,
said
Dave?
that?
Your friends, Rolling Stone, did that one.
Those guys
Doesn't surprise me.
fucking beep. Include beeps now. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Wow.
All right. Van Halen 1. All flash, no substance. Eddie's fretboard acrobatics wear thin quickly, while the rest of the band seems more concerned with party tricks than actual songwriting.
True.
Yeah.
I think I've heard this review actually.
Oh. Well, I'm still going to say false.
Belle got it right. That is fiction.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So am I correct? Is that 3 or 2 for Belle? I'm trying to remember now.
I believe it's.
I think it's
don't know,
3.
actually.
Yeah,
3?
it'll be 3. Yep. All righty. So that's Van Halen. All right. Number 7, Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. From whichever direction one approaches Wish You Were Here, it still sounds unconvincing in its ponderous sincerity and displays a critical lack of imagination in all departments.
True. The album got canned by critics when it was first released.
I'm going to say false. Now, Belle, you've got a chance.
Mm.
I'm gonna jump in and say true.
All right. Well, Dave and Bell, you got that one right. It was from Melody Maker, not Rolling Stone this time around. So there's another one there for you all as well.
I'm too trusting.
Number 8 is Deep Purple Machine Head.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
can't say anything bad about this album.
No.
Can't say anything bad about any
apparently
albums.
you can.
Fuck, this was...
Aside from a riff or two, this album is just a bloated jam session that confuses volume with vision. It's hard rock for people who mistake repetition for intensity.
That sounds like an AI review. I'm going to say false.
Sounds like Rolling Stone review. I'm going to say true. They were AI before AI was cool.
Yeah. Look, that's too. No way. That album is a fucking classic. It's got to be false. Has to be false.
Well, Bell and Jeff, you got that one right. So that was false.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Here's one. This will be interesting. Pearl Jam 10 for question number 9.
Whatever it is, it's correct.
You've chosen these albums, haven't you?
I chose the albums, yeah.
Yeah.
This has nothing that hasn't already been offered by fellow Northwestern rockers like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and the defunct Mother Love Bone. Pearl Jam flail about in search of a groove and a song.
I probably wrote that, so yeah, it's true.
I'm going to say false.
I think it's true.
I think it's a false review.
All right. Well, Dave got one up on everyone there. That was true. That was an amalgamation of reviews from NME and Entertainment Weekly. So there you go.
Wow.
Makes perfect sense. They were spot on.
All right. Now to one of the holy grails, Black Sabbath, self-titled.
Okay.
This album is the worst of the counterculture on a plastic platter. This is a shuck made by unskilled laborers attempting to craft stiff recitations of cream cliches.
What the fuck does that even mean?
That's true.
I think it's true.
I think it's false.
All right. Well, Dave, Jeff, you got that one right. That is an amalgamation from the Village Voice and Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone. The amount of classic albums that we still listen to today that got fucking canned when they were first released in the 70s is insane.
That's why I thought this would be a fun little game to go back to because it tests the memory a bit.
Yeah,
all right, finally, number 1. It's actually fitting that Dave's wearing a top because Kiss Destroyer is next on the block. Bob Ezrin's bombast and melodrama has resulted in the foursome's least interesting record. This album lacks that flash of creative madness that could have made their music interesting or at least listenable.
True.
False.
True.
Ooh, there we go. So for this one, hold on. Oh, come on, get out of it. For this one, Bell and Dave said true, and they would be correct. This was an amalgamation of the Village Voice and Rolling Stone. That's how this one.
Rolling Stone fucking despised Kiss.
Yep. Which makes this interesting now, because now I'm going to do a final count. So Jeff got 1, 2, 3, 4. Dave got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have a tie. I don't have a tiebreaker, unfortunately. I figure we just go 11. So Bell and Dave, you split that one this week. So well done to you both for getting the most correct. So there you go. A bit of fun to be had on that one.
I like that. That was cool.
That was fun.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. A bit of stupidity, but it was a bit of fun to have with that one. So
yeah, I liked it. I liked it. I like shit like that, trivia and true false.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Yeah.
That was good. Good one, Andrew.
Different planet, but a bit of fun.
It's all about.
Well, Dave ducks out. Let's go some comments here. Elliot says, so love this album. My favorite Thin Lizzy album. Back to Thunder and Lightning there, which is cool. Craig says, Gary Moore released Victims of the Future around the same time. I love that album, but Run for Cover with Phil and Gareth Hughes was fucking massive. Out in the Fields and Military Man were my favorite Linux songs of the 1980s. They were as close to what Lizzy would have sounded like in the late 80s had Phil survived. That's a very good point there, Craig. I agree with that one. Game on. Everyone's gone true. I'm sorry, guys. This is all going to be, I'm not going to read all these true and false responses. I'm just going to scroll on down. But Craig says at the very end there, cool, Andrew. You're welcome. I'm not going to lie. I do use tools to help me do this one because I don't have the hours in the day required.
Yeah.
But there we go. It works.
Nothing wrong with that.
that said, I did the groundwork. Found the way I worked this out. I made the groundwork and picked the albums. Found the quotes manually from the ones that were true, and then asked the other side to do other ones for other albums that were false. So I asked the false to be created, but I did the legwork to find the true ones. So there you go.
Yep.
Michael says, there you go, Bill. You're not the only one that can write negative reviews. Go Hatchet. So there we go. But it also shows, right, whenever we give a negative review, there's always hope, right? Because it might become a classic 20 years from now that everyone's going, what the fuck are they thinking in that moment? So we might be historically completely, utterly fuckwits. So we'll see what happens, which would probably
happy to be the future Rolling Stone. Yeah.
That would be kind of cool. That would be a neat claim to fame. All right, final songs to share are Alice in Chains, Check My Brain, and Ancients, Melt the Crown, as we go into this week's King of the Riff round when the fucking platform catches up. Basically, you know what we do now? Every week we go through and do albums head-to-head, and this time around it is the theme of comeback albums. This is round 2, the 7th seed being Alice in Chains, Black Gives Way to Blue, versus the 10th seed, Ancients, Beyond the Reach of the Sun. Dave chose Alice in Chains. Bell chose Beyond the Reach of the Sun. So that's how we're going to play things here. As we've done last week and started a new trend, the lower seed, the person who picked it, will go first. So it'll be Bell first, then Dave, then we'll throw to Jeff and myself to close this out. So you all know the drill, folks. Get in the comments to let us know your winner. We have an audience result to go along with this one. But as we do, Bell, start us off. You picked Ancients, but which way did you go in the battle?
Before I start,
yes,
can I just check how's my connection? How's my sound? How
really
is my whole presence here?
Yeah,
really good. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right,
you got on the cooling block, have you?
I've got some. There's been some changes.
You stuck it in water, didn't you? You took my advice.
No.
Actually, do you know what? I didn't have a what's it called that we do at the end? Not the bin. Razor glass.
Yep. Now you do.
I'll just put that on ice.
Yep.
So,
nicely done. All right.
I'll get on with my fucking review. All right. I'm going to start with Ancients because no. Do I want to? What do I want to start with? I'm going to start with that.
Decisions.
I'm sorry. This is on the fly.
Good.
No, I will start with Ancients.
Yep.
All right. So if this opening track, the opening track on this album, if it isn't enough to convince you that these guys are something special, something different, and something fresh, then the rest of the album probably won't convince you. Because while each song has a different feel, they are using their own special recipe in each song. The unusual mix of post-rock, thrashy riffs with death metal drumming in parts, progressive song structures, and of course the vocal styles moving between harsh and clean, giving full effect to what's going on musically, makes Ancients so refreshing to me, particularly when I first heard this. Of course, there are comparisons to be heard in certain sections and styles, but as a whole, there is no comparison band, at least that I've come across. By the first minute or two, when I first heard it, it had my attention, despite its very mood. And that was before things got heavy in the song. Can you imagine my face when that happened? Like, yes. And here I was thinking I was in for a chill ride, and then the dude starts death growling. Amazing. Then they go in for this mellow acoustic interlude. The song is a journey. This is the opening track still I'm stuck on. But yeah, for me, it's now a road well traveled. So I'm going to move on from the opening track into the album. So besides the obvious high standard of musicianship and creativity on display here, the thing that I think I love most about this album is the ever-changing, ever-moving flow of these songs. It's like musical mood swings, and that's a good thing. Each song is an adventure. even if after a few listens you know where it's going to go or what's going to happen next, it still delights me every time. I just get swept up by them and like transported to some like mystical land where peace reigns, but the thought of danger, like just over the, you know, the hill is there. Like it's just, I don't know. It's that's where it takes me anyway. So you don't have to be a guitarist to appreciate the guitar work in this album, but it makes me wish that I was, because, and I don't get this often, but I got this urge to learn how to play these songs or to have that first-hand understanding of just how complex and cool like everything they're doing is. It's just such an interesting and beautiful guitar work from start to finish, and in particular the acoustic work, but also the unexpected shredding you get, like in songs like The Torch. I will say I don't know too much about production, but I know that this sounds really good.
No, they did a good job. They did a really good job.
It's impeccable. Yeah. I can hear everything I want to hear and nothing I don't. So praise to the production team, whoever you are. Yeah, this is not an album that I got tired of or am tired of at any point since I first started listening to it, which has been countless times. So yeah, I can't see myself wanting to not put this on regularly at this point in time. Yeah, it's an album that like I could just go into so many details about, but I'm not going to. But if you've heard it, you know what I'm getting at there.
There's
there's a lot. All right, but Alice in Chains, when I recommended this album, I'm thinking to Andrew, because you came back to me when you heard it. I think it might have been in the top 10s, because this was my number 2 album.
Yeah, and we were talking about it like in between the year changeover, and you were going, you got to go and listen to this one, Yeah,
and I was like, you got to listen, because I pushed that. I guess my spin was that it's a bit Alice in Chains, and I stand by that.
No, hear it.
Yeah. So when these two were up against each other, I thought, well,
interesting
that's
battle.
cool. Yeah, there's going to be a bit of a harmonious week, I guess. Instead of one of those crazy ones that we get like so different. I thought, okay, this is going to be cool. And I had not heard this Alice in Chains album, I'll just note. So when I put it on, I'm sorry, Andrew, and everyone who likes it. I know you love this album, but I've got to be honest with my review and my opinion.
That's all we ask.
Listening to this album tipped grunge, which is a genre that for me was sitting precariously already on a fence. It just tipped it over into the bucket of genres that I just can't do anymore.
Wow.
I just not one that I've always hated, because I like Alice in Chains, The Dirt, like that was Facelift, other grunge albums, they were a thing, they were cool for me in the past. But I even struggle. I remember we reviewed Dirt. Was it last year? The year before?
Year, yeah.
I think so. It was in,
yeah.
I found that I struggled with that then. An album that I was so familiar with, and it was so loved at the time that it was a thing. I found that I struggled with it, and I continue to struggle with Alice in Chains. I know they have a sound and a mood, but it's not a mood that I want to be in. It's not a mood. It's not a headspace I want to get in. It's just too depressing and down and dreary. And I just had this body, mind, and soul rejection to this album.
Wow.
So
okay.
While Ancients kind of take some of that, they go and they
somewhere
kind
else.
of move somewhere else, and it just, it's not kind of even the rockier songs on this album. I think I was just so like for the first couple of songs on this that I couldn't bring myself out of it and get into them. So yeah, I know, and I know it's a well loved. And I know I just
that's all right. It's the point though. Like
couldn't do it. So if it makes it through over Ancients, so be it. But I don't know if I can listen to it again. I don't know if I want to put myself back into that space, into that place.
Okay.
So anyway, Ancients.
Maybe you have to listen to it 4 or 5 times to really get it.
Here we go.
I may not be here.
Hey, let's not do that. All right, Dave, you chose Alice in Chains. Let's go to you next.
Yeah. Now, I get exactly what Bell's talking about in regards to grunge, but I never considered Alice in Chains to be a grunge band. They were too focused, and what they did was on purpose. And they're the only grunge band I can actually happily listen to this day. And while it's weird because I have a lot of associations with this band when I was a teen and I was really depressed, it's a happiness that I listen to this band now because you make it through the darkness. Hence the album title, Black Gives Way to Blue. There's a story behind this. Chris Cornell and his wife were talking to their 9-year-old daughter. What does this title mean? So they let's call Uncle Jerry and ask him. And I actually wrote this down. The title means somewhere there are very dark and challenging times in life, and it may seem like things will never get better. But if you stay strong and keep moving forward and look out to the horizon, you'll start to see a little point of light way out there. And slowly, black gives way to blue. That's fucking beautiful. And while Alice in Chains are always dark, moody, and depressing, there is always a beauty and a triumphant, and I will come out the other side a better and stronger person. And considering how this is a resurrection album, basically, from a band that, for all intents and purposes, should have been dead, I get nothing but triumphant from listening to this. Because, you lose Lane Stanley and your band should be done.
Yep.
And a year before this, maybe a couple of years, they did it like a benefit for a tsunami, I think, with some guest singers. You had Phil Anselmo, you had James Hetfield, a whole bunch of people. And then they started working with William DeVille, and then but they had everything stacked against them. Do you do this under this name? So this, to me, this was a fucking surprise when it came out. I had no idea they'd found a new singer.
Oh, same.
And they're playing it in JB Hi-Fi one day, and it's like, this sounds familiar. That was a huge chance to take, and everything was against them. Music had changed. It would have been a massive backlash from fans if it wasn't done well. So people that love this band, and 14 years after new music, in the mid-2000s, grunge is well and truly dead. So winning over new fans would be fucking hard. So, and the whole landscape has changed. So actually doing this is a massive gamble. The first lyric on the album is hope, a new beginning, time to start living just before we died. That in itself is like, you got me right from the start. The band's dead. Your friend is dead. Your bandmate is dead. Do you die along with that, or do you take a chance and keep living? Fuck yeah. Go for it, man. Then Check My Brain. The first single, the first song I heard from that, a hell of a fucking hook in that riff. God, it's so cool. As soon as I heard that droning riff, that's fucking Alice in Chains. It has to be. They have a sound, and no way. It can't be. Then I'm not going to go over every song, just the first couple, because there's a point here. Last of My Kind, there is slick changes in the energy from the mellow to the heavy, and nobody does it better than Alice in Chains. Awesome lyrics. There's a great line in this song. I sleep behind the 8 ball. There is 2 meanings to that. And it's fucking brilliant. I sleep behind the 8 ball. I love shit like that. It's so cool. And when this came out, it's interesting that what was new to me as a teenager, because this was really the first cycle of seeing a band that was new become the older guys on the block, the elder statesmen. And because apparently when something new comes along, it's apparently better. And then you get the old bands that come along with something fucking classy. The Rolling Stones have been doing it for decade after decade. Fuck off, son. This is how it's done. And this is Alice in Chains, the last band standing with grunge. Maybe Pearl Jam, but they fucking one album after another. It didn't really make an impact. Alice in Chains help bear the fucking flag. Then there's Your Decision. Alice in Chains always had a knack for the mellow acoustic songs. And that Sap EP that they did, bit like GNR Lies. Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses, they're probably the only bands that do this whole heavy and an acoustic mellow shit really fucking well. Yeah. But that EP itself, I get what Belle's saying. Like, that album puts me into a mood, because that was a really depressing time when I heard that. And that Rotten Apple song, I would listen to that over and over, and I was like almost catatonic. But this is one of those ones where, like, get through that dark shit, black gives way to blue. So within the first 3 or 4 songs of this album, you have everything you would expect from Alice in Chains. You get the mix of heavy and the mellow, and lyrically engrossing and musically hypnotic. I do have to mention Acid Bobble. Excellent rise and fall between the slow and the menacing and the heavy and the harsh. That one could work perfectly on Facelift. That song would have been good. But excellent guitar solo on that. I fucking love that solo, but I wanted to learn to play that, hearing it now. So I looked it up on the tab site that I'm on. The intro is in 9/8/7/8. It shifts bar to bar. 9/8/7/8, 9/8/7/8. Then that heavy part is in 3/8 for 2 bars, and then 6/4. When the fuck did Alice in Chains become a fucking prog band? What the fuck, man? This is so cool.
Yeah.
I also just learned that the title track that closes this album has Elton John on piano.
Yes.
I did not know that. That is really fucking cool.
Whoa.
Elton's fucking metal. That's cool.
Yeah.
They're not just rehashing what they're known for. From this moment on, they will, as Andrew mentioned on the Sunday sessions, Will and DeVale will become more prominent member, and they will continue as a viable band. It's not just a rehash, like, this is what we were, this is what we are now. You know who we are, we're going to move on. The interesting thing is Jerry Cantrell takes most lead vocals, and Willem is only in a lead vocal on one song. He's mostly co-lead, or Jerry has most of the lead. So it's a safe album.
Transition.
You have to do that. Yeah. Guitar tone is heavier than what they used previously. You could use the same setup and play Dream Theater. Obviously a different style, but that tone, you could do any Dream Theater album from about 2004 onwards with this same setup, and it would sound fucking great. Production is more metal than grunge. Once again, 2009 compared to the 90s, that's to be expected. So moving on to Ancients, and this flowed remarkably well from the Alice in Chains album. Had this on at work, and as familiar as I am with the Alice in Chains album, I actually didn't notice when they switched. The feel, the tone, the production, it all just flowed perfectly. It's like, holy shit. And these are years apart, but it's got that fucking vibe of so many different bands you can put this into. So there is literally something for everyone in this album. So straight up, this album is fucking amazing. I want the guitar effect board that this guitarist has. Every tone on this album is fucking amazing. I just want to play with these setups. Anything I can come up with that wouldn't even be remotely as interesting as this, I just want that sound. Production is great. Everything flows really well. Everything is balanced nicely. The clean vocals sound great. Reminds me very much of Opeth clean vocals on the Ghost Reviews album. The growled vocals are coherent. Thank you. Because it would ruin this whole fucking thing for me if you couldn't understand what this cunt is saying. But thank you for being ballsy enough to let people hear your words. And so it's really hard to describe without sounding nuts, without saying, and then they do this, and then they do that, and then this happens. So I just listen to the fucking thing. But, you know, this is like a beautifully written story where someone who is in touch with the full range of human emotion. There's a massive musical palette out there at their disposal, and they use everything possible to create different textures and moods. It is outstanding. The composition of these songs is like well-written dialogue. I'll digress for a little bit, but 25 years ago, when I was in a writing course, I got recommended a book called The Art of Dramatic Writing. And it basically said there is stilted writing, which is like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, okay, how was your day? Boring shit that we go for in everyday life doesn't make for engaging viewing as art. Or there is sudden escalate, like, hey, how you doing? I'm going to rip your fucking head off, cunt. You know, there's no reason for that. You don't know why he's angry. But so much music goes from 0 to 100. It doesn't have context. Rising, the way these guys compose their songs, makes it engaging. And you want to know what happens next. To the point where they do that whole really aggressive shit, you're still engaged because you know something else is going to happen. It's important to do this shit because so much music these days is so fucking boring because one, they'll just drag out and stay in this pocket really boring, waiting for something to happen, or they're up here and it's just really boring because you're waiting for something else to happen. There was so many different influences in this band, everything from Opeth to Mastodon to Pink Floyd and early Black Sabbath. While they might push things to the extreme in some places, nothing overstays its welcome. It's crazy. You can be relaxed one moment, and they do occasionally do the jarring shift, but they've established what they do in their album enough for that not to be too jarring because you know something else is going to happen. Forbidden Sanctuary, the opening track, this sets the album up perfectly, their style. There are some blast beats towards the end of this, which was impressive for like 30 seconds on that Daft album we did last week. But even this, they push that to the tedious, but you know something else is going to happen. And they do some drum rolls while the blast beats are happening within that section, which makes even that section more engaging. Despoiled has a fucking awesome wah solo. There's a cool driving groove in that track. On my first couple of listens, I did have one criticism. While there is plenty of diversity within the songs, there's not much diversity between the songs themselves. So it's not a matter of if they're going to get heavy or if there's going to be a mellow part. It's just a matter of when. So for the most part, they've got their style and they stick to it. Whereas a lot of other bands will have like the slow song and they'll stick to it. But this majority of these songs do have the growly part and the mellow part. So you know every song, while they're all different, they've all got the different feel. They've all got the same basic massive palette. It's going to be in there somewhere. On deeper listens, though, there was one song that doesn't do that, Beyond Our Minds. It doesn't have the growled vocals or the blast beats, which the next song starts off for about, it's a 4-minute song, and it's got the growled vocals for about 2.5, and then it moves down. So the full piece, it's taking you on the journey, but that one individual song is enough to, it's like the ballad in a standard rock album, which makes it diverse enough as a whole.
Yeah,
I'm just nitpicking the hell out of this.
No,
it is an album you need to spend a hell of a lot of time with. I need to pick one, and honestly, I am conflicted. Do I go with what I'm familiar with or something new that's impressed the hell out of me? I like both styles. It's easy to overthink, but it will really come down to one thing for me, and it's something that usually comes down to these battles for me: lyrics. And it's kind of been the theme for me tonight. While songs about mystical themes and fantasy stuff are fun and cool to escape from reality with, I can relate much better to songs about hardship, life problems, isolation, loss, confusion, and second chances. So I have to give it to Alice in Chains. I will always take reality over fantasy.
Okay, cool. All right, good. No, I like this. Is actually really intriguing. It's an interesting presentation of both albums. Well, I think it's a cool change to make the people who sort of locked it in to go first on the choice to sort of back things up, which throws it to me and Jeff to sort of see which one this plays out. And Jeff, we'll throw to you next.
All right. I didn't write anything, so this is all going to be off the top of my head.
Oh, wow.
So, well, I figured I wrote enough anyway. But so, well, that's my job at work is fucking writing. So, you know, anyway. Look, this was actually very difficult for me because I wasn't really that familiar. I think I'd listened to the Ancients when Bell had mentioned it before, and it was just sort of briefly. And I thought, yeah, I'll give this some more time at some point in the future.
Yeah.
And then I never did. So now was my opportunity, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to this. And I was... I kind of knew that what I was going to get when I walked into it because like I said, I already listened, I had some experience a little bit with them. And as I said, I think before, they really remind me of like a junior Opeth, right? Like you've got the guitar melodies and stuff like that sound like Opeth. You've got the growls that really fucking sound like Opeth. And then you got the clean vocals that sound like Opeth. But yet they've got something of their own that they're bringing to the table. And as Opeth, as a band, I absolutely adore. I love them. And so I really appreciate this. And I found that opening track, what's it called? Forbidden
Sanctuary.
Forbidden Sanctuary. Yeah. That really sets the album up for where it's going to take you. And yes, I agree with Dave. You know, after you're listening to them for a while, you start to expect something's going to happen. And that gives you, I guess, a little bit of an expectation of the album, but I don't think it takes away from it. I don't think it detracts. it's kind of like reading a book. You know something is going to happen in that chapter, and then you move on to the next one, right? Very rarely would you read a chapter in a book and nothing happens. So I really enjoyed this album. I thought that the song structure, the writing, and Dave, you mentioned, reality versus fantasy. Well, to be honest, I play a lot of fantasy games. I do that to escape reality. So I get enough fucking reality. All I have to do is watch 5 minutes of the news, and it's just it's reality central, right?
Fair enough.
And so
listen to a lot of metal that's making the fucking I'll shut up.
No, I get it. But so that's why I listen to a lot of music, is to it's an escape for me, right? And as well, I also listen to stuff because I'm like, I'm mining for fucking ideas, guitars, right? I'll take something from here, take something from there, put together, boom, I've got a new riff that no one's played. So that's kind of cool. And there's some amazing fucking playing on this album. Really, really excellent musicianship all around. Guitars top notch, bass, everything, drums. I'm not a big fan of blast beats. I've said it before. Blast beats are fine, but these guys use it sparingly, which is good. Because if it was, I've heard albums where it's just nothing but blast beats. I'm like, fuck's sake,
fucking boring as hell.
Well, and you could just have a computer do that shit, right? You don't need a person. What's the point? So I'm glad when they mix it up a bit, but look, it's to each their own. Everyone has a different take on it. So I thoroughly enjoyed this album. And it's an album that I would certainly sit down and listen to again. So now Black Gives Way to Blue. That album is looking from where it came from, I as Dave said, I figured when Lane died, that was it. I mean, Alice in Chains was done, and if they did continue, it would be some other project. It would be something else. It wouldn't be, because how do you do that? How do you?
And Jerry had already been doing solo stuff as well by this point.
Correct. So Lane had such a unique sounding voice, and yes, you get Jerry can sing and have that similar kind of thing with it, but still Lane brought something to it. And I was reading an article that said that I hate to say it, but I think it was Rolling Stone picked Lane Staley was like the 33 best vocalist of all time. That's what they said. Rolling Stone, they're full of shit, but hey, whatever. So look, so when I was listening to this album, and I hadn't listened to it in a long time, I always enjoyed this album when it first came out, and because where it comes from, hard to believe that this is only the album number 4. That previously this they only had 3 albums, and everyone knows Alice in Chains, and it's such a massive legacy. 3 albums, right?
Quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
They've also done the same, if not more, since this lineup.
Yeah. Well, so that's right. So I think it's exactly the same. So now that this is album, Rainy or Fog was like album number 6. So exactly right. And so obviously we're due for a new album, because that was 2018. So that's 7 years ago. We're due for something soon, I would imagine. But look, this album is, when it comes to comeback albums, like this is what the topic is. It's comeback albums. These guys, this album is something pretty special when it comes to a comeback album, because for all intents and purposes, they were dead and buried, and this album dug them up and made them relevant again. And the songs were absolutely brilliant. I think the songs, I forget the name of the song because I don't know the album that well. Like I said, I've only listened to it when it first came out, and then a few times. What's the name of the song? Give me a second. I will find it, because it's going to bother me if I don't. Private Hell. That song, just before Black Gives Way to Blue. Now, that song to me was worth the price of admission right there. I really enjoyed that song. And of course, the whole album, it's got the ebbs and flows, the peaks and valleys, the whatever you call it, the troughs.
Peaks and troughs.
Yeah. It has that. It has that in spades, and it does it a lot. It breathes. The album breathes. Yep. It's got light and shade. It's got all of that stuff. And I really enjoyed it. And so when I had to pick a winner between the albums, this is where I was really torn, because on one hand, we've got this band, Ancients, which I think they've created something extremely special here, and they're Canadian. You
Yeah.
didn't know. So that's kind of cool. And they also sound a lot like Opeth, and in my opinion, they're not Opeth, but they have the similar sound. So if you like Opeth, you're probably going to like these guys.
Yeah.
But they each bring something different to the table, and that's unique as well. So how do I vote? I all day long I was conflicted as to which way I was going to go with this. I could literally make a decision. I could make a decision right now, and 5 minutes ago I might have chosen something different.
Yeah.
So I did a little research on the catalog, and obviously because I don't know much about Ancients, and so I had to do it, and I had to listen to a little bit of their stuff from prior, and it's it's one of those weird ones. I'm really torn because on one hand, I can really see how Alice in Chains has done something special here. They've come back from death, really, and literally, and then they've kept going, and very thoughtful lyrics and whatnot, as well, and with and just a heartfelt, Black Gives Way to Blue, just like what Dave said. I didn't know about that, but that's brilliant. That really is well thought out, and it's inspiring. And so, and when you consider what happened to that band, to then come out with an album that is sort of like, hey, we've been to some pretty dark places, but if you feel like that, there is hope. There's light at the end of that tunnel, because ultimately that's what happened. That's what killed Lane, right? It was that depression of the drugs and all that stuff, and combined. And so now that's a pretty powerful statement. So I think I'm going to have to give it to Alice in Chains, purely because of the but only because I think the album itself is it is pretty remarkable itself. Whether you're an Alice in Chains fan or not, this is a pretty remarkable album. And as far as comebacks, it's pretty damn good. And I got to see them as well. I got to see them at Download, which was pretty awesome as well. I wasn't expecting that, and so that was pretty cool. But I'm gonna give my vote to them. But Ancients, I'm telling you, where I'm gonna go back and listen to Ancients more, because that album sort of, it really inspired me, it allowed me to take my mind into places. Very, very inspiring album in that sense. And so that's the album that I'm going to focus on. So thank you, Bill, for putting it forward. But as far as comebacks, and that's what this topic is, comeback albums, it's hard for me not to go with Alice in Chains. So Alice in Chains gets my vote.
Okay. And then there was one, I'm being mindful of time, and I really don't know what else I can add to what's been said, because you guys have covered fucking everything that I could say and more. Look, it's interesting how, like Dave mentioned, both these albums can bleed one into the other so easily. Like Bell mentioned when we were talking about this one before we even started the year off, that yes, there is a definite crossover between Alice in Chains and Ancients, and I think that's made this battle really interesting. And no matter what you think of either of these albums, I know that Bell, you don't like the Alice in Chains ones, but for me, I'm really familiar with that one and not so familiar with Ancients. But Ancients, as everyone has echoed here, is fucking impressive. Like, they came out with a bang on this one. It's A1. I think that it growls, it has beauty, it has everything you want. It has the progressive elements, it has great lyrics, storytelling, great scope, atmosphere. It has so much going for it. I love how for me, the artwork on the album is really representative of what you get when you listen to it as well. Like, the whole package is complete. For me, I know that Jeff picked up on Opeth, but I picked up on bands like Mastodon, for example, in there. It was like mixing Alice in Chains and Mastodon, two great bands as far as I'm concerned, and putting them in a blender, and this is kind of what you get out of that one. For me personally, listen to it. but they are both bands use harmony well. They both have heavy and soft moments that blend into the whole listen well. They both have, in this context, like Dave touched on, they both have that proggy element to things going on as well.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know, when it comes to Ancients, the Torch absolutely fucking slaps as far as I'm concerned. You've got Melt the Crown, Cloak of the Vast, and Black. Those show, you know, how beautifully mixed this album is. Like, there's so much going on in Ancients that it's not even funny, and it genuinely makes this a tough contest. I'm not going to sit here and say this is a fucking wipeout because I'm a big fan of one band. Like, Ancients is fucking in it. Like, they are really in it. This is not an easy call at all to make, because I can oscillate between just listening to either one like that, and it doesn't phase me in the slightest. I'll happily reach for either and go, I'll be in a great place listening to either album. I'm like Dave, though. I still remember the first time I heard anything from Black Gives Way to Blue, and thinking to myself, what? Hang on, they didn't have anything in the can. Like, what the fuck's going on here? And you heard, like, I thought it was like rarities or unreleased tracks or something. I didn't know it was a whole new fucking album. Then like they what?
Yeah,
like,
they
no
fucking
one saw
what?
it coming.
Are you nuts?
Yeah.
Like, no one saw it. I don't know what press coverage it got, but I didn't have any idea it was coming. Like, it hit me like
it was just out one day.
Yeah. And it was like, are you nuts? Because of everyone talking about Lane and what it meant and all that kind of stuff. And obviously history tells you different things as, you know, stories move on. But wow, like when that came out, I was just like, what the fuck? It's become, this album for Alice in Chains is not, Alice in Chains is one of my favorite bands, but I think also this album is one of my favorite from the band overall. I love the early stuff, but this one here is that whole, like you mentioned, Dave, Hope, A New Beginning. That's what this is for the band. And they've gone on to, I think out of the later three albums, this is probably the best one, but I still love the other two as well. It's just that they really launched onto it. When you get to tracks like Last of My Kind, I think that shows William DeVille in the best light on this album, how it sort of begins that transition point. But I love how both albums have great tones, great emotive depth, great mixing. You know, they're both riveting from beginning to end. But when it comes to this one, you've got tracks like, obviously, the riff in Check My Brain is, oh my fucking God. Like, I had that song set as my alarm for fucking years, literally. Jodie's not a massive Alice in Chains fan, but she went to download Enter the Sideshow with me because of that fucking, the alarm of that fucking song for Forever and a Day.
That's love, man.
I know, right? I'm lucky. But like I said, you got Last Year Kind, you've got, you know, Your Decision, and When the Sun Rose Again, to show the softer side of this band as well, which I think that Alice in Chains, along with Ancients, both albums have done that. Soft and light, soft and heavy, or light and shade, you know, all those things are there. Then you got Private Hell, Lesson Learned, Take Her Out, and, you know, all those things are that sort of mid-range point that everyone knows and loves from Alice in Chains too. Then for me, you get one song that probably splits the two albums for mine. And this is, it all for me is determined by just emotive connection. And I connect to both wonderfully well. Like, I love both albums. Belle, I fucking am so in your debt for pointing out Ancients, because I'm a massive fan of the album. But for me, when it comes to the song Black Gives Way to Blue, there are, for an individual in your life, and we're all individuals, we all have different songs that do this to us, but there are some songs that can just break you down and reduce you to nothing but the feeling in the moment, and you can just get swept away and become nothing in the notes and the sounds and the tones, the lyrics, the meaning, the emotive depth, all those things can just take you away on a just so it just goes blast through. There's nothing left, and it picks you back up and builds you back together again. And that song does that to me every single time. I can get emotional thinking about that song. I can still, all these years later, have tears in my eyes listening to that song. Like, there is something about that that's just purely special to me. And whilst this is a fucking fantastic battle and not a one-sided thing at all, it's just hard for me to personally go past one song that you connect with on such a visceral level. Compared to, like, I connected to the other one, but that, like, this is one of those rare moments. Like, I listen to so much music, when you get that fucking moment, it's like, fuck, I could just fall apart listening to this song. I can't ignore that feeling, that sentiment, that emotion, because that's what music is really all about at the end of the day, is you know, emotion expressed in a tangible form. and that's what this is about to me. So not by much, but it does go to Alice in Chains for me as well. So I do feel bad because Ancients have put on a fucking class album. Like like I said, happily listen to both again.
I will
I'm
definitely.
sorry, I feel bad because I do love the album, but you have to make a choice, and it
It's
really
a tough
came down
one
to
this week.
song. It is a tough one.
It really was.
I was blown away by how good Ancients was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So credit to Bell again for picking it, putting it in, and I do want to give that album its flowers, like it deserves it. But it's just unfortunate that Bell's going to be on the. Now you know how I felt last week when Anthrax got fucking.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. It's all good. But anyway,
Just trying to prove a point.
It's all good, man. I get it. No problem at all. It's part of the game. What this does do though is it does sort of well, obviously we know our winner now, so we have Alice in Chains for us. But this mirrors pretty much what the audience.
Fuck!
Yes, I know.
This
Dave.
goes up against Iron Maiden.
It does. That's my nightmare scenario.
There's two big fucking comeback stories for you right there.
My nightmare scenario. But anyway,
shit.
Yeah. Good look there, Dave, because I was going to make a point of that because this does mirror the audience because it's about 70% of the audience went to Alice in Chains. So unlike last week, we are in tandem with the audience this time around. Yeah, we're in a struggle in a few weeks, Dave, you and I. Because the winner
comeback
goes
of traditional metal versus the comeback of grunge.
Mm-hmm.
Or grunge metal, whatever you want to call it. To themselves, but shit.
Round 6 is going to be a doozy.
It's fucking interesting.
Brave New World versus Alice in Chains, Black Gives Way to Blue. That's going to be a doozy. But next week, before we get to all of that, is seed number 4 from Jeff, Def Leppard Hysteria goes up against Dave, your number 5, Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy.
Yeah.
Really, you want a culture clash? We're going to get it.
No.
That's the battle we're going to get your
Do you know
gloves
what?
on, Dave.
Yeah.
Do you know what, though? Hysteria was such a massive fucking beast when that came out.
Yeah.
And it's so much older than Chinese Democracy, which apparently people hate, but they're only one seat apart.
Yeah, I know.
Chinese Democracy has a lot more love than people think.
I know it's got a lot of plays, man.
I'm a fan of it. Yeah.
Yep, that play count is
That's a good fucking album.
Yep. Well, in context, it's got over 282 million plays. So, make of that what you will.
And you know what? If you see them live doing these songs with Slash and Duff, it's a whole new beast.
I do enjoy those versions more. I will admit that, even though we've all known my stand from this. But we'll get to that next week.
I was just going to say, I bet one song of Hysteria's got 280 million plays.
Actually, yeah, because Hysteria.
Yeah, it's got to be close to a billion. It's going to be a billion.
The album's over a billion plays, so it's kind of it's a. That's it. Been around a bit longer, so it is fair enough too. All right. So overall, next week we have next week. Oh, sorry, where am I going here? Next week's show is going to be Hard Rock Happenings, Hot Rocks, all the usual stuff there. But the backyard banger is Thornhill, Bodies, Bell. That's your assignment. Then we have Fretboard Feud is we're going to do a builder collection from 1985 with a twist, which I'll take you all through next week, month by month. So it's going to be fun with that one. Dave, you got the something different next week, your game next week.
Cool.
And again, Def Leppard, Hysteria versus Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy. Now, for those that are wanting to know what's coming up in the backyard banger, I'll let you guys know as time moves on during the weekly course of things. But just so everyone knows, Bell, you have Thornhill. I've got Living Through Mirrors. Dave, you chose Hidden Intent. And Jeff, your new assignment next time around in a few weeks will be the Rumjacks Dead Anthems. Now, again, I'll link you guys to these albums. If there's something you really struggle with, make sure you let me know. We'll swap out. But otherwise, just happy to give you assignments and off we go.
I don't know Thornhill.
Well,
so
we'll see how we go.
I don't think. Maybe one song, but cool. Okay.
But you can check us out on TV, as always, on Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne, Thursday nights, Channel 44 in Adelaide. A whole lot of stuff going on there as well, I think. We filmed most of this month's filmed now, so we're going to do that. And if you want to get more involved, then check out our Patreon page because we do our Sunday sessions, which David mentioned before as well tonight. There's a few things going on here. We are over time, so I'm going to quickly scroll through comments and see if there's anything that I really want to jump at here. Craig says, first time hearing Ancients was going really well until the stupid growls. For that reason, Alice in Chains wins. Unfortunately.
Growls are difficult, I get it.
Yeah.
But they're coherent, so they're okay.
Yeah.
Vinny says, Check My Brain in particular really moves along at a nice pace. Coherent vocals, lyrically intelligent, exactly how I enjoy my music. That's from Vinny, so there we go. Nath Will, again, last week you mentioned there was a rumor an Adelaide band maybe coming to making a comeback after a 7-year hiatus. Well, it's happening. Expect an announcement soon-ish. Keep us posted.
Ooh.
Like I said
Yes,
last week,
let
please
us know.
do. Yep, keen as
Yeah.
fuck. Hard Music say, hi all, Ancients, good to see you. Ancients are awesome, but Black Is Way to Blue is possibly the most unlikely yet greatest comeback album of all time. Wow, there's some words. Nicely put. Vinny says, if you remove the vocals from this Ancients track, does anyone hear a little Testament? Interesting. Testament
No.
in Ancients.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not even the
Okay.
slightest.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd have to say no.
No, I get a mood, not so much the tone or anything, but I get a kind of a vibe.
Newer Testament or older?
Yeah, what he's saying.
Okay.
Old.
All right. Old. All right. Cool.
Mhm.
Final comment. Hard Music again said Ancients debut Heart of Oak is spectacular. I haven't checked that out, but I do want to go back through their catalog after this. Again, thank you to Belle for putting this on forward.
Belle, thank you. Yeah. Awesome.
Genuinely loved it. And
thank you, Ancients, for being awesome.
Yes, well, that's true.
Thank you, Canada, for giving birth. Yeah.
We're out of time.
Blame Canada.
Let's not drag this on. We're going long, so let's do a raise a glass here. So Jeff, what are you raising a glass to this week? Then we're going to get.
I'm raising a glass to myself because I win the Dumbass of the Day award, and do you know why I win Dumbass of the Day award? Because I'm working away. I work from 8 o'clock till 4:30 today. So it's about 3:30, and then my supervisor says, "Jeff," I'm like, "Yes." Type. Were you supposed to be working today? Because it says on the roster that you had today off and you're working on the weekend. And I'm like, what? No. I said, no way. So I look at the fucking roster. Sure enough, Thursday and Friday off this week, work the weekend. I'm like, unfucking believable. I finished my day. But, and then, so I'm like, well, what do you guys want me to do? So, like, because it's too late to get someone else to work Saturday, so I'm gonna have to work the weekend. They said, look, next week, take Wednesday off. You have Thursday off. You have Friday off because I'm working next weekend as well. Yeah, so I'm gonna have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off instead of they're giving me that Wednesday to make lieu of the day. On Dumbass of the fucking Day award, I win. All right.
There you go.
To stupidity.
Yeah, stupidity.
Unbelievable. I'm stupid.
I fucking believe it.
That's all of us.
I wake up this morning and I'm feeling, oh my God, I feel terrible. I don't feel like going to work. I should just call in sick. I could have just stayed in the fucking bed. Jesus Christ. Am I a fucking idiot? Anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
All righty. Dave, let's go to you next.
Okay. I don't like sport, but I like wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan since I was a little kid. So, fucking 35 plus years. I've seen a lot of highs and lows, things, popularity increases, everything. Andrew's a wrestling fan as well. So over the course of being a fan over the many decades, you see some insane spots, like Mick Foley getting thrown off a fucking steel cage onto a table. Darby Allin getting thrown down a flight of concrete stairs, or doing a swanton onto a fucking plane of glass that explodes and his back gets cut to shit. Not to mention the unintended spot fuck-ups, like the injuries like broken legs and dislocated elbows. I don't think I've seen a more insane shot in recent years than a couple of weeks ago. John Moxley, who people might know from WWE, he's now in AEW. I don't know if you know about this, Andrew, but there was a street fight with him and Adam Copeland, who was Edge in WWE. Planned spot. So it's a street fight. Edge pulls out this fucking board that's filled with nails, like really packed tight, not sharpened but blunt. Smacks him in the stomach. He goes down. And he throws his fucking board on the ground and suplexes John Moxley onto the fucking board, middle of the back, spikes first. You fucked that. I mean, there's no way to not fuck this up. You're going to get hurt. But if that went in wrong, would have gone right in his spine, dislocated a disc, anything could have gone wrong. But he took this shot and he gets up and he's got this fucking board sticking out of his back with the fucking nails in his skin. And the commentator's like, I think I'm going to be sick. And he's playing it up to the crowd. He's showing all angles, and the ref's trying to get this fucking thing out, and it's like that, all the way down, and there's fucking blood everywhere. So I hope the company paid him really well, paid off his fucking house, paid for his kids' education for life, because that is an insane shot, all for the sake of entertainment and all for the fans. And I think we ask way too much of these mortal people over the years because they just have to keep upping the ante. So I raise a glass to John Moxley for entertaining us sick fucks that actually get off on this shit.
Okay.
Because my God, you could seriously do a serious injury from that.
That's nuts. I do know what you're talking. I don't know about that incident, but I know you know my history with it. So yes, I'll raise the glass.
You guys see that clip, man? It's fucking sickening.
I'll Google it.
Link me up. Yeah.
All
right, Belle, you get to follow it up.
Okay. What the fuck? This is real. This is not a horror movie. That's when it's entertainment. Wow.
That's real shit.
That's real, all right. I wasn't going to say. I don't know. I didn't really have one. I think it was something to do with the internet. Oh, yeah. Internet. I have good internet. We got a router, which is now upstairs. And I don't have to have an overheating mobile phone hotspot connection.
Nice.
It's so lame compared to Jeff's dumbassery and Dave's wrestling.
Mine it would have worked.
Mine's not that riveting.
No, that is cool, Belle, because it made your stream flow.
Has it?
You have not glitched out once.
You haven't dropped out at all.
Yeah, you've been great.
It's been fun.
Awesome. Perfect.
It's working. Belle. It's absolutely
probably the best out of all of us, actually.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. I will
raise an empty bottle.
Raise a glass
a glass to Ellis for just setting it all up because he did some kind of mesh.
Teenagers, they know more than us when it comes to tech.
Fuck yeah.
Something to do with something routery. Yeah. So
it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, my razor glass this week is relatively simple. It's just going to be to opportunity when it comes. Work have made me full time, which is cool. It helps me obviously plan some things out and get some things done. But in addition to that, they put me through getting my forklift license. So today I became a certified fork driver. So I'm going to raise a glass.
It's fun, isn't it?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Getting opportunities.
Now you get to wreck cars.
I get to do all sorts of stuff now, man. You have no idea.
Oh, man, it's awesome. And your company pays for it, too. It's cool.
They paid me to do my test. They paid for the test, and they paid me like I was working while I was doing my test. So I lucked out big time doing this. So thank you to the company, but also just in general, like when you get an opportunity that comes along and it's not that you got to whip it, you got to take advantage of it. So there you go. For those that play along with the words there. All right, final comments here before we go home. Craig says, love the auto subtitles, Dave. No, not even in the sluts. I don't know what the fuck was that about on Facebook. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
We get auto subtitled on, was it Facebook?
Facebook,
yeah, you're on Facebook. Yeah, we get auto subtitled. So if we say fuck, 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 it'll come up as bleep, 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 or dot, dot, dot.
Oh, right.
I don't know what causes slut, but you know what? Cunt. That will actually come up.
Let's see what comes up. Johnny Wombat says dedicated employee. So there you go, Jeff. Vinny's gone. Oh, sorry. Vinny says, I saw that too. It's like an insight into what he's really thinking. But also he said, just simple raising a glass to discovering religion in time for Easter. When I'm in trouble, I wonder what Jesus would do and then pretend I'm dead and disappear for 3 days.
Nice. Yes.
That was one hell of a hangover.
Sure was.
All right, folks.
Oh, man, Jesus was flying drunk.
Thank you guys for hanging around. We've gone late tonight, but thank you for hanging around for as long as you have. We'll get into more behind the scenes, I'm sure, in Discord and chatting between ourselves. But a big thank you to Jeff beside me on the screen. A big thank you to Dave in the opposite corner and Belle with her new internet on the screen below me there. So thank you all so much for you guys and your time there. I look forward to next week and to Sunday and all the other stuff we do as well. But thank you for staying a bit late tonight. Hopefully you get some rest and we get on to the rest of the week as it progresses. But that'll do it for now. We'll see you all again at same time place as always. Until then, I'm Andrew, and you all know what to do, folks. Until next time, drink up, rock on.
Rock on.
Cheers.